hasn't been senior quarterback Jamel Holloway that has to do with the success of Oklahoma this season. Sophomore QB Charles Thompson has been the main signal caller for the Sooners, leading the team in rushing and touchdowns. Quarterbacks are also the focus of the Oklahoma defense. It's simple. They don't even get a chance. Pistol Pete has reason to be excited. Oklahoma's in town, and all hats are off to Oklahoma State's best offensive trio in the nation, led by quarterback Mike Gundy. Gundy's favorite threat is Big 8 all-time reception and yardage leader Hart Lee Dykes. But the biggest part of the Oklahoma State trio is the nation's leading rusher and Heisman Trophy candidate Barry Sanders. It's an old Midwest interstate battle. We welcome you to Lewis Field in Stillwater, Oklahoma, where this afternoon the 12th-ranked Cowboys of Oklahoma State University will play host to the 8th-ranked Sooners of the University of Oklahoma. And the big factor today, it's going to be the wind. Gusts expected up to 40 miles per hour. Hi, everyone. I'm Roger Twibell. These two teams have met for a number of years, but unfortunately for Oklahoma State, Oklahoma's always had the upper hand. The last time the Cowboys picked up a victory, 1976, that game in Norman. The last time they won here in Stillwater was 1966, and the only time they've won here since 1932. Let's bring in Lee Corso right now. And Lee, Oklahoma State every year looks at this game as their big game. The Sooners, on the other hand, they look at Texas and Nebraska as their big games.
Yeah, because Oklahoma State never beats them, like you said. Now, Oklahoma State's a good football team, though. They've got 19-3 out of the last 22 ball games, and all 3 losses to Nebraska and Oklahoma. But it's a big game. There's 10 different bowls represented today.
You know, Oklahoma State University is a prolific offensive team this season. As a matter of fact, they lead the nation in scoring offense, averaging nearly 48 points a game. Can we expect them to put those numbers on the board against OU today?
I doubt it. I tell you, they have already scored 1 touchdown in the last 3 years against Oklahoma, so they've got to try to open the ball game up. Run a reverse, throw a pass, do something to loosen them up, and then on defense, don't panic. They panicked against Nebraska. Nebraska scored 35 points in the first quarter. They got to play it cool and don't panic on defense.
Oklahoma State's defense has been a problem the last couple of years. Currently, they're 95th in the nation in defense. But, Lee, they seem to play pretty good against wishbone teams. Can Oklahoma and their powerful wishbone exploit this defense?
Well, they should be able, because Oklahoma has moved the ball well against Oklahoma State. But remember, there's one thing important here. Oklahoma must do the things they do best, the triple option, fullback, quarterback, pitch. On defense, they got to contain and punish number 21, Barry Sanders. Try to intimidate him, because he's a key to the Oklahoma State offense.
And for the first time this year, for all of you folks who've heard about Barry Sanders, you're going to see him. He is a great back. There was recently a straw poll taken among people voting for the Heisman Trophy, and this just last week, and Sanders with the lead over Troy Aikman. Now, Lee, in my opinion, Sanders doesn't need a huge game today. A good game by Sanders, and more importantly, a win by Oklahoma State will do more for his Heisman chances than anything else.
Well, Sanders will get the most votes of anybody not playing quarterback position. But I also think the secret is 1989. He's got to battle Harris and Walsh, the 2 quarterbacks, for the 1989 Heisman Trophy. This is a big game for him.
Big game for Barry Sanders and for Oklahoma State University, as both Oklahoma State and Oklahoma in the battle for the Big 8 Conference title. And now the Sooners of the University of Oklahoma. And a few boos here in Stillwater to be expected, as now the Cowboys of Oklahoma State University. ESPN's presentation of CFA football is being brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Avoid the noise. Domino's Pizza delivers. One call does it all. By Budweiser Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by RCA, #1 with the toughest critics in the world. Man, does a wind ever blow in Oklahoma? I got to tell you, The flags are blowing. The sky's partly cloudy. The temperature 58 degrees, humidity 44%. The wind north-northwest at 16 miles per hour, and gusts from 30 to 40 miles per hour. Oklahoma won the toss. They will receive, and they don't care about the wind lead. They don't care about the sun. They don't care whether they're on the road.
They don't care if they're in Tokyo or the United States. They want to get the football first and intimidate the opponent's defense.
Oklahoma State wearing orange pants for the third time this year. They wore them against Texas A&M, and they won 52-15. They wore them on the road at Colorado, and they won 41-21. As Oklahoma has Rod Fisher 7, Mike Gaddis 32 back deep. Kerry Blanchard sends it out of the end zone with the wind to his back, and why not? Let's check out the Sooners offensively. Charles Thompson, the sophomore, is the quarterback. Leon Perry's the fullback from Orlando. The halfbacks, Eric Mitchell and Mike Gaddis. The split end is Eric Bross from Houston. The tight end, Adrian Cooper. The center is Mike Wise. The guards, Mike Sawatsky and Anthony Phillips, a Lombardi candidate. Taryn Manning and Mark Van Kiersbroek, the offensive tackles. The Sooners, 1st and 10 from the 20. Thompson's checking off at the line of scrimmage. Pitch it back. Gaddis to midfield. Gaddis to the 30-yard line. Melvin Gilliam, the senior from Tulsa, knocked him out after the 50-yard gain.
The quarterback automatic to the weak side. Watch the fullback. The fullback goes the opposite direction. He pitches it to Gaddis, number 32. Gets an outstanding block by 64 Manning, who knocks 2 men down on the left side. And there goes Gaddis for a 50-yard run.
Second longest run from scrimmage for Mike Gaddis, a freshman from Midwest City, Oklahoma. Thompson, who has now inherited the starting quarterback job from Jamel Holloway. 1st and 10 from the 30. Right up the gut is Leon Perry. And the Cowboys defensively. Marcus Jones from Port Arthur, Texas. Brandon Colbert and Sean Mackey, the defensive tackles. David Bailey, Devin Jones, the defensive ends. The backers, Torrance Cummings, getting the start this week, and Sim Drain the third. The corners are Gilliam and Joe King. And the safeties for Oklahoma State, Lamar McGriggs and Rod Smith, back after serving a 1-game suspension last week. 2nd down and 6. Artie Guess is in. He's split wide to the right. Adrian Cooper's in motion now to the other side. Gaddis. This time he gets little or nothing as he's knocked out at the 24-yard line by Joe King, the freshman right corner out of Dallas, Texas.
Oklahoma started the ball game by moving to tight end from one area to the other area, and then they're optioning depending on what Oklahoma State did. Twice in a row they've gone to the split inside. That time King, who's 6'3", 180, did a nice job of coming up and filling on the option play.
Barry Switzer in his career against Oklahoma State, 14-1. That only loss in 1976. 3rd down and 4 from the 23. Perry. And that'll be very close to the 1st down. Torrance Cummings, the left side linebacker, and Brandon Colbert in on the stop. Cummings starting in the place of the injured Bobby Rayner. And that's a 1st down for Oklahoma. Perry averaging over 5 yards a carry, and Lee, who does it in this wishbone offense?
Perry also has an advantage. He played at Jones High School in Orlando, and they use the wishbone. That's why he fits so beautifully into the Oklahoma offense.
1st and 10. Thompson keeps it, gets down to the 15-yard line. Melvin Gilliam, Joe King, the defensive backs, come up to make the stop. Thompson's an interesting story out of Lawton, Oklahoma. Of course, the leading rusher on this team. He's averaging over 7 yards a carry. Jamel Holloway with the knee injury a year ago in this game against Oklahoma State. Made a great recovery just to get back and play this year. Turned an ankle against Texas. But Barry Switzer has said that this kid Thompson's a better quarterback right now than Holloway was a year ago, as Leon Perry dives down to the 13-yard line. Oklahoma 4th in the nation in rushing offense with over 374 yards a game and 11th in total offense. And Lee, they go up against a defense 91st in rushing defense, 95th total defense. But they're a big play defense. They've caused a lot of turnovers. They've also played well against the wishbone.
Pat Jones does a good job on his sideline there of making adjustments as the game goes along. He's an excellent defensive football coach.
Another 3rd and 4 for Oklahoma. They're into the wind. Pitch back to Gaddis. Touchdown. Just his 2nd touchdown this year for freshman Mike Gaddis.
Beautiful block by number 25, Stafford. If you watch the bottom left-hand picture, you'll see a defensive man disappear right there. That was the block by number 25, Stafford, that allowed Gaddis, number 32, who Barry Switzer thinks is the next great superstar at Oklahoma, score a touchdown.
R.D. Lasher will attempt the point after into the wind. He's 35 of 36 this year, and he line drives that one through. So Gaddis, 3 carries, 66 yards. Of course, the big run, the 50-yard run on the first play from scrimmage. And Oklahoma jumps out on top 7-0.
The quarterback, Thompson, is optioning. You'll notice he's optioning right here to the left. He puts the ball in the fullback. Somebody takes the fullback. He comes down. They pitch it immediately. But right there, the block by number 25, Stafford, was the reason why number 32, Gaddis, could score. Now watch number 25, the top right-hand side of your picture, right there, get the block. That's the secret that sprung Gaddis, number 32, for the touchdown. One great thing about the backs at Oklahoma, they not only run well, but they block for each other. They don't play for Barry Switzer.
They are very high on that young man, Mike Gaddis. Lee, what about the orange pants? You were kind of a coach that was always looking for an edge.
Yes, I always try to do something different when against a team I thought I was going to beat, not against Oklahoma. I mean, you never beat these guys. I stay in the white pants and hope to use the orange pants again with somebody that doesn't have as many great football players.
Todd Thompson will kick it off into the wind now, and the man who goes back deep for Oklahoma State is number 22, and that is Mitch Nash. Now, Sanders does return kickoffs, and the last 2 years he has returned the opening kickoff of the season, 100 yards for a touchdown. He's also, last year, led the nation in kickoff returns, punt returns, but today he is not back there deep. Now they do flip him back, so Sanders, 21, does go back. And let's see how Oklahoma handles the kickoff into the wind here. Low squib sort of kick, and it's taken by an up back at the 22-yard line, and he better just get down to the ground as he does. That's Brent Parker, a backup wide receiver. Let's check out the offense now for Oklahoma State University. The quarterback is Mike Gundy from Midwest City. Garrett Limbrick, Barry Sanders, the running backs. Limbrick, a great blocker. Hartley Dykes, Jared Green, the wide receivers. The tight end is Vance Weiss. Up front, John Bovair is the center. The guards, Chris Stanley and Jason Kidder, and the tackles, Mike Wolf and Byron Woodard. 1st and 10 for Oklahoma State from the 34-yard line. And watch for a gimmick play. They don't do it as Sanders gets across the 35 to the 38-yard line. Kurt Casper makes the stop for Oklahoma, and let's check them out defensively right now. The nose guard is Tony Woods from Colorado Springs. Scott Evans, leading sack man for Oklahoma, and Curtis Williams, the tackles. The defensive ends, Wayne Dixon and James Good. The linebackers, Kurt Casper, Frank Blevins, are leading tacklers. Jerry Parks and Scott Garl, the corners. Ken McMitchell and Kevin Thompson are the safeties. And there's the flip back. Gundy has got to run with it, and he doesn't do that very well as he leans forward to the 33-yard line. Frank Blevins made the stop. They lose 6, and Lee, we knew it was going to be the first or second play, and what they did was they pitched it to Sanders, ran toward the line of scrimmage, and threw it back to Gundy.
It's called the old flea flicker pack. But what happened is the defensive secondary, number 22 Thompson especially, who's a very fine football player, stayed back and watched number 11 Dykes. Now remember, 21 got the ball, flipped it back to Gundy, who's now moving around, and now the play is wrecked. Now he's just got to fall down and hope he doesn't get hit by those big gorillas.
3rd down and 11. Gundy finds Dykes. and it's not going to be enough for the first down. 10 yards on the pickup. It was 3rd and 11. And Hartley Dykes said, this is the year I've got to do it against the University of Oklahoma. In the past 2 years, he's caught 6 passes for 75 yards. The only Big 8 team he hasn't scored a touchdown against.
It's an interesting call right here. It's 4th down and 1. Do they go for it or do they try to punt it?
And substitutions being sent in right now. Brent Parker, the wide receiver, checks into the game. And it looks like Oklahoma State will go for it. 4th and 1.
No matter what happens, this is a good call.
Sanders, and he doesn't get it. Sanders did a little dance at the line of scrimmage, and the man there, Scott Evans, the sophomore from Edmond, who Barry Switzer calls the best defensive player in the Big 8.
The reason I said it was a good call, they've got to try to do something to take away from the play from Oklahoma. Obviously, they can't stop Oklahoma. They got to keep the ball. But watch number 78 right there, Evans, comes in and makes a good play and knocks Sanders down before he can get there. There's a man hurt on the field.
It's 22, Kevin Thompson, as he was coming up to look at the tackle being made, and as he was leaving the field, he twisted his knee and fell down. First quarter, and Oklahoma leads at 7-0. Today's game is being brought to you by Dodge Cars and Trucks. On the street or off the road, it's the new spirit of Dodge. By Heil Heating and Cooling. Depend on Heil. They're born to run. And by Dailies. Look for your favorite Dailies product in your nearest grocery store. There's a Dailies treat for everyone. Roger Twyba, Lee Corso with you. And Kevin Thompson had to leave the field with the assistance of the Oklahoma trainers. It looked like a left knee injury. As Oklahoma, good field position, 1st and 10 from the 44. And Gaddis, he could go all the way. Touchdown, Oklahoma. Man, does this look like the Nebraska game?
We mentioned in the pregame show that they cannot panic defensively. Nebraska scored 35 unanswered points in the first quarter because the Oklahoma State team panicked. Gaddis, number 32, gets a great block in the middle. Watch the center, 65 wide, drive a man deep. Number 53, Drain takes him out of the play, and that's all Gaddis needs. He's fast enough to outrun number 2, Gilliam, and it's a touchdown for Oklahoma.
4 carries, 110 yards for Mike Gaddis. R.D. Lasher, the point after. And it's good. And with 10:21 to go, first quarter, Oklahoma leads Oklahoma State 14-0. You know Pat Jones is going to get second guess for going for it on 4th and 1. Lee, you said it was the right call at the time.
The reason is because they can't stop on defense, right? They might as well try to keep them off the field. But this play was just a great block in there by number 65 White. 6'6", 270, a former offensive tackle who just blew the men off the line. And anyone, you or I, could have run through that hole that Gaddis man all the way for a touchdown.
6'2", 205, a freshman from Midwest City, Oklahoma.
He averaged over 10 yards per carry in his high school career. Can you believe that?
I can't, after watching those 2 runs. So Todd Thompson will kick it off again for Oklahoma. And this is the thing that Pat Jones wanted to avoid more than anything else, because they did come back against Nebraska, Lee, and play some pretty good football, and they did make a game of it. But Pat Jones wanted to avert that. That's Scott Verplank, a PGA Tour player and a former Oklahoma State grad on the sidelines.
Now, Pat Jones knows that he's got the offensive team that could get back in this ball game. The reason why he went for 4th down, again, I'll bring this up, is because he thought that he didn't have it on defense that could stop Oklahoma, and the only way to beat him was to keep the ball away from him.
He said his best defense would be his offense. Back deep, Mitch Nash, one of the players back there. Sanders is back on the kick team, but as a short man. And one of the up men will take it. That's Lindbrick, who gets across the 40 to the 41-yard line. And now, with 10:16 to go, first quarter, Oklahoma State will try to get something working. We talked at the top about the gadget play. They tried it on the second play from scrimmage. It didn't work. Oklahoma, you love that kind of scoring drive. 7 seconds, 1 play, 44 yards.
That's what happens sometimes when you got a great football team that's explosive. You get the other team on the run, and pretty soon they can't be stopped.
Gundy on the option pitches to Sanders, and 3 men hit him over on the far side. The first man there was James Good, And Scott Garl, the senior safety, was also there. So they said they wanted to hit Sanders early, and they wanted to hit him often.
A little reverse option. A quarterback, a reverse pivot, come down the line of scrimmage. He pitches off the outside man. But, ladies and gentlemen, 39 is good enough to take the quarterback and the pitch. Oklahoma is in trouble. Oklahoma State's in trouble.
And that's his name, James Good. Second down and 9. Sanders, 3 carries, 5 yards. Near side, the completion. Jared Green, number 19, made the reception, and that'll be enough for an Oklahoma State first down. Jerry Parks on the coverage, 12 yards on the pickup.
It's important that Gundy and Oklahoma State get something on the board going with the win, because with the passing attack, when they start the other way, it's going to be more difficult. Oklahoma doesn't worry if the wind is blowing or not. They're just going to run the option play.
Gundy second in the nation in passing efficiency, but last year against Oklahoma, Lee, 4 interceptions. 2 were returned for touchdowns in the fourth quarter. The year before, as a true freshman, he came in against Oklahoma as a starter, threw an interception in that game, and that pass was returned for a touchdown. He is from Mike Gundy. We talk about Midwest City, Oklahoma. That's down in Norman. That's down in OU territory. And some folks feel that he feels the pressure when he plays against the University of Oklahoma.
Well, that's possible. Also, the interesting thing is going to be he's got a brother named Cale that they say is one of the outstanding junior quarterbacks in this state. I wonder where he'll go to school.
3 wide receivers now for the Cowboys. First and 10 from the 47. Green's in motion to the near side, and they give it to Sanders. And there are 4 or 5 white shirts around Barry Sanders every time he carries it. Frank Blevins, the leading tackler, strong side linebacker out of Killeen, Texas, the first man there to make the stop.
One thing I noticed automatically up here is that Oklahoma has got almost 8 men, 7.5 men in the position to stop Sanders. Obviously, they're going to stop Sanders, and Gundy has got to throw the ball to try to beat him.
This is a veteran offensive line for Oklahoma State University. Primarily 5th-year seniors. Second and 9. Dykes in motion to the near side. Gundy throwing on the run to Dykes. Great catch inside the 20. Down to the 16-yard line. Hart Lee Dykes, the all-time leading Big 8 receiver. Yards on the reception.
Gundy starts to drop back. He wants to throw the ball to the right. The line is giving him good protection in there. 73 Kidder gets a good block on the lineman. Now he starts to scramble. Watch the one-handed catch by Hart Lee Dykes. Oh, that was sensational. That's the play that Oklahoma State needed.
And that's the catch that Hart Lee Dykes needed against Oklahoma, and the pass Gundy needed to complete. Now Sanders on the pitch. Breaks 2 tackles. Look at him drive inside the 10, down to the 9-yard line. Barry Sanders, 5'8", 197, a junior from Wichita North High School, and he is one solid muscle.
And he ran over right tackle, number 56, Woodard. Now watch him. He gets the hand, a pitch out. He's watching the blocking the line, number 32. Limbrick gets a good block, but right here, the thing I like about him the most is you notice that body lean. He's driving for that extra yardage. Oklahoma was loosened up by the pass. Now it's time for Sanders to run.
Second down and 2 from the 10. Sanders fumbles. He gets it back, and he's very close to the first down. Pat Jones knew he had something special when he recruited Barry Sanders, because Kansas, Kansas State, and Tulsa, the only other schools to recruit him, they brought him in with freshman orientation. The first thing they did, they tested him the vertical leap, 41.5 inches, and Jones says, I'm a better recruiter than I thought I was. And there's a look at Pat Jones. Personal guy's had a great career at Oklahoma State since taking over for Jimmy Johnson. First and goal from the 7-yard line. Sanders alone setback. Gundy checking off now at the line of scrimmage. When in doubt, go to Sanders. Inside the 5, spinning to the 3. He's so very strong. He runs so low to the ground, and one man cannot tackle him.
Good strategy that time by Pat Jones. He puts a one-back offense and spreads the Oklahoma defense out so that he can run the Washington Redskins' favorite play. He'll start to the right, and the right guard, Kidder, is pulling and trapping, and then he breaks and finds an open spot. Number 34 cannot pull him down, and he drives forward.
Second down and goal from the 4. Less than 7 minutes to go. First quarter. Gundy will roll out. Gundy now tucks it under. Gundy, touchdown, Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy with his first rushing touchdown this year. They told us, Lee, they wanted him to run with the ball a little bit more against Oklahoma.
Oklahoma State come up this time real fast before the Oklahoma team could get set up. Number 34, Dixon, gets good support, but there goes Gundy, and he's determined to score.
Kerry Blanchard, the point after it's good. He's the 7th leading scorer in the nation, averaging better than 10 points a game. And with 6:52 to go first quarter, Oklahoma leads Oklahoma State 14-7. Roger Trotter, Lee Corso back with you at Lewis Field in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Kerry Blanchard, a sophomore, will get set to kick it off. And back deep, Rod Fisher, number 7. Glenn Milburn, number 5. And does it really matter with the wind to his back? No, not at all. 14-7, Oklahoma leads. Let's go to Tim Brandon.
Roger, down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama in the third quarter, and the Tide leading 15-10. Quarterback David Smith finds Lamont Russell, his junior tight end. He's hit by number 24, Mike Mays, right here, fumbles the ball. Jimmy Young, number 5, the SMU transfer, recovers. That leads to this play. Tommy Hodson having a poor outing to this point, hitting Tony Moss. And he will go 49 yards for the score. And LSU, that had been trailing 15-0, has a 1-point lead. Roger.
Thank you very much, Tim. Welcome back to Stillwater, Oklahoma. I was going to say, should they go to Gaddis again on first down? No, they didn't. Perry did. Let's take a look at that touchdown.
The rollout, Gundy, number 12, is trying to get the ball to Dykes, number 11, but he can't. Good pressure by the Oklahoma team. He cuts it back, and right here, determination gets the touchdown for Oklahoma State.
The left knee might have been down, Lee.
Depends on who you're rooting for. Now, watch this. This is what I like right here. He protected the football. Notice that? He protected the football and lunged across.
Thompson outside at the 31-yard line. He's got enough for the first down. And the University of Oklahoma sophomore quarterback Charles Thompson, who is probably not as good a passer as Jamel Holloway, but Barry Switzer said he's a much better runner regardless of Holloway's knee. And Mike Gundy, he needed a big game against Oklahoma, a big play. So did Hartley Dykes. They've got it in the first quarter, folks. That will make a difference in this game. First down and 10 from the 32-yard line. Thompson across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Devin Jones, 31, from Duncanville, Texas, up on the stop.
Number 6, Thompson, comes down the line of scrimmage. You remember 45, Smith is supposed to come up and take that quarterback, but I tell you, he gets knocked down there by one of the Oklahoma players. It looks like automatically right here that the Oklahoma team is so much quicker than Oklahoma State that they can run the option the rest of the day and might score 60 points.
Lee, why has Oklahoma State's defense played well against the wishbone teams Colorado and Missouri this year?
Because Colorado and Missouri don't have the kind of players that Oklahoma has. It's not the formation. Pat Jones is a great football coach, but the other team is quicker than he is, and he's having a problem right now defensively.
5th season at Oklahoma State. These two guys make commercials together. They're on TV all over the state of Oklahoma. They have a good time with each other. There's a great camaraderie between these two. But as you all know, Lee, today, forget it, right? 5:47 to go. First quarter. 2nd and 1. Fumble! Thompson and his center, Mike Weiss, misfired on the snap, and Oklahoma's going to come up with it. Oklahoma has had their share of injuries this year. Bob Latham's all Big 8 center has been out with a knee injury, and Weiss has been in, filling in ably, but we're liable to see Latham today.
What happened that time, the ball hit Thomas back too far, and that'll happen a lot of time when the quarterback and the center are trying to get the ball too quick in the snap count.
3rd down, and let's call it a long one. The fullback, Perry, and that's going to be close. Leon Perry, Jr., from Orlando, Florida. He's 6'1", 223 pounds. Everything keys, Lee, off the fullback of the wishbone offense. We've talked about this a number of times. The fullback, though, for Oklahoma had a hard time early this year accumulating any yardage.
What they did is the defensive people started taking the quarterback and see if they could get to the quarterback. Now, the fullback likes to run number 2 Perry behind number 68, the All-American, Anthony Phillips.
First 3 games this year, the fullbacks for Oklahoma only gained 153 yards, and against Southern Cal, the game they lost, they only gained 13. Since that time, they've increased it from an average of 3.6 a carry to 5.9, or really over 6 yards a carry, and from 51 yards a game to over 120 yards. So they've got the fullback back in the wishbone right now in the Oklahoma offense, as that last carry enough for the first down. And Thompson checking off at the line of scrimmage. Pitch back. Anthony Stafford. Stafford, who's been out with an injury, and this is his first action in a while. Sim Drain, the linebacker from Stillwater, makes the tackle. He's number 53. Stafford's a senior out of St. Louis.
To stop the wishbone, you need the free safety to become an alley player, which means he stays inside out, and then he's got the pitch-out man. He overruns the play by Stafford, number 25, but at least he's up there in position. If he just break down a little bit, he can make a better tackle. That will help slow down the option.
45, Rod Smith, a couple of interceptions this year, 1 for a touchdown. 2nd and 3. Gaddis inside the 40 to the 35-yard line, and what a good-looking freshman Mike Gaddis is. Gilliam and Smith in on the stop, and Gaddis, who has a couple of touchdowns and over 100 yards already, gets about 12 more.
Now when 45 Smith makes the tackle, this is bad. This is a counter option play, and they've broken through the linebackers and are going on the field. Now watch. Smith try to bring down Gaddis, number 32, but the key to this thing right now is Oklahoma has made but one mistake, and that was the center quarterback exchange. If they do not make mistakes, Oklahoma State cannot stop them.
Smith is the leading tackler from Oklahoma State. Had over 60 tackles coming into this game. 1st and 10 from the 35. Gaddis with 123 yards already. First man through is Perry, and he leans down to the 30, possibly the 29. Let's go to Tim Brando. Tim?
Roger, let's take a look at the Miami Hurricanes. Steve Walsh going to work here. He'll look downfield 33 yards to Randy Bethel for the touchdown. 10-0 now. They lead Tulsa in the Battle of Hurricanes. By the way, on the other side of the Big 8, Kansas beat Kansas State 30-12 today. Roger?
Oh, boy, that's about time one of those two teams got to win, huh, Lee? 2nd and 5 for the Sooners. Thompson's got room. Thompson inside the 20, tiptoes down the sidelines, and out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Torrance Cummings, a junior from Fort Smith, Arkansas, was a man that ran him out.
But Mr. Clark, number 1 from Oklahoma State's in big trouble. The option, takes the ball, fakes it to Perry, comes down the line of scrimmage. They've given the quarterback the option. Now watch, boom, he's gone, number 1, and there goes Thompson down the sideline. It's physically impossible for Oklahoma State to stop Oklahoma when Oklahoma's running its option because they're so much quicker. Notice the quickness of the Oklahoma team.
And it looks like the Oklahoma State linebackers are getting sucked up too close to the line of scrimmage. You're getting tied up with their defensive linemen. 1st and 10. Perry bowling over people down to the 7-yard line. Leon Perry. You know, Lee, it's been 5 years since the last time Oklahoma had a running back to go for over 1,000 yards. I think Mike Gaddis, even though he only came into this game with 234, next year is going to have a good shot at it.
If he was at a school to use the I formation, he might have 1,000 yards in a half a season.
Like Barry Sanders.
Or at UCLA, or someplace at SC where the I formation tailback. Perry is an outstanding fullback. He's the key to this offense.
2nd down, Perry, touchdown Oklahoma.
I just said Perry is an outstanding football player and is a key to the offense. Watch the right guard, number 68. He knocks the whole line down. And there goes Perry and drives himself in there.
And that's Anthony Phillips, 6'3", 286-pound senior from Midwest City, Oklahoma. He is a Lombardi finalist. They're down to 12, and he showed you why he is there. As Lasher comes on to attempt the point after. And for the 3rd time today, he's good. And with 2:35 to go first quarter, Oklahoma leads Oklahoma State 21-7. Roger Twyba, Lee Corso back with you in Stillwater, and it's been like practice for Oklahoma so far, Lee.
Well, Oklahoma's not only a great football team, they're extremely well coached, and they haven't been beating themselves so far. The only way really to stop Oklahoma is for Oklahoma to stop themselves.
And they've been known to cough it up on a few occasions. Just one fumble so far today, and they recovered that. Thompson kicks it off. He gets a little bit more on that one. And Oklahoma State University's Mike Clark is tripped up at the 28-yard line.
On the replay, you'll see a fullback belly play made famous by Woody Hayes. Number 68, Phillips, knocked number 91, Colbert, to the inside. And then watch the body lean. Excellent dropping of the shoulder by Perry, number 2. As you said, 223 pounds, a strong running back from Orlando Jones High School.
And Barry Switzer is able to go out of Oklahoma and Texas and get that skilled player from California or Florida or back east when he needs to. Gundy is 3 of 3 for 50 yards. Oklahoma State 1st and 10. Sanders across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Dante Williams, number 98. Another one of those Oklahoma players that has been injured and is back this week. Well, Barry Switzer told us the other day that both Oklahoma State and Nebraska actually had more returning lettermen. As a matter of fact, Oklahoma State had more than both Oklahoma and Nebraska. He said one of the interesting things is that next year he'll have 18 returning starters, and he's got 5 or 6 guys that are redshirted. He said might be better than starters.
I'm picking Oklahoma to be #1 in the nation preseason next year.
Sanders, look at the spin. Sanders across the 40 to the 42. The yards will come hard today for Barry Sanders. Scott Garl, 49, the right side corner, made the tackle.
They're going to try to punish him. A little misdirection play. The left guard, number 59, Stanley, gets a good block, and there goes a nice spin move by number 21, Sanders. Remember I said at the top of the show, not only are they going to try to tackle him, they're going to try to punish him. Now watch the pursuit get to him. Number 62 makes a good block by Wolf, and there goes Sanders. He breaks one tackle, but notice the number of jerseys around him.
1:30 left to go, first quarter. 3 wide receivers. Dykes in motion now to the near side. Gundy will run with it. And across the 45 to the 46-yard line. Pat Jones felt that option quarterbacks, or quarterbacks at least that could tuck it under and go a little bit, would be successful against Oklahoma. As we take a look at some of the scores, Nebraska on top of Iowa State. And he really wanted Gundy to tuck it under and run with it a little more today.
As we look at the scores, the reason why he wants that is it frustrates the Oklahoma linemen. They're so very, very talented, but they like to knock the quarterback down. And when he's running, they don't like that very much.
Sanders, look at him step across midfield to the 49. That's going to be close to the first down. Kevin Thompson, who's back in the game now, the strong side safety, and Scott Garl make the tackle. Garl's 49, Thompson is 22. Thompson, 4 interceptions so far this year for the junior from Houston.
Oklahoma State would love to have Thompson, number 22, and Scott Garl, number 49, making the tackles because they're defensive secondary. As the linebackers make the tackle from Oklahoma, then Oklahoma State's in big trouble.
Gundy is very close to breaking the Oklahoma State University all-time total offense record. He came in needing just 59 yards to break that mark. Coming up here later tonight on ESPN, this will be a good one. South Carolina and Florida State, a couple of independents, ranked 5th and 15th respectively. That at 8 Eastern time. 35 seconds to go. First quarter, 1st and 10 for Oklahoma State. Dykes drops the football. He wanted to run with it before he caught it. He's real anxious. He's a great athlete. Hartley Dykes, 6'4", 225. He's a senior from Bay City, Texas. His brother plays for Oklahoma. This kid won not only the punt, pass, and kick contest as a youngster, but also the baseball version of that.
Not a bad athlete when you're drafted by the Chicago White Sox as a pitcher also. They say he's one of the best athletes in the country, especially for his size.
Said he had a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Second down, and Gundy doesn't get enough on that one. The intended receiver was Jared Green. And that'll bring up a 3rd down situation with 21 seconds to go in the quarter and the wind still at their back.
That's the point I was going to make. You might be wondering why they're throwing the ball play after play now, because the wind is blowing at their back and they want to try to throw the ball with the wind as much as possible.
3rd down and 10 from the 48-yard line. Mike Gundy, 3 of 5 for 50 yards. He's going to tuck it under. He finally throws it downfield, and it's incomplete. The intended receiver was Brent Parker. And Parker had a chance to catch it, didn't come up with it. Kevin Thompson was back on the coverage, so with 13 seconds left to go in the quarter, Oklahoma State's going to have to punt it.
Gundy is starting to scramble a lot. Number 34. Dixon tries to put the pressure on. Right there, the ball is deflected at the last minute.
Sanders actually tipped it. As we have more football coming up for you this weekend, and we'll let you know all about that after this punt by Kerry Blanchard, who does the punting and the place kicking. He's at his 37-yard line and swinging back deep. As he finally gets a hold of it for Oklahoma is Jerry Parks, and good angle on that punt by Blanchard. Give me a ball, give me a ball. They'll mark it at the 11-yard line. 37 yards on the punt, and with 6 seconds to go in the first quarter, and Oklahoma leading 21-7. They'll have a chance to go into the wind again, but it doesn't really matter to them. NFL Game Day starts your Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. NFL Primetime will be at 7:15, and then the Los Angeles Raiders and the San Diego Chargers. That's live at 8 Eastern Time tomorrow, right here on ESPN.
I'm going to try to watch that San Diego Chargers game. A quarterback who played for me named Babe Laufenberg.
That's right.
Plays for San Diego. This should be a great game.
Sooners, 1st and 10. Gaddis, he gets maybe a yard. Oklahoma State, good job right there. Brandon Colbert, the man on the stop, and that ends the first quarter of play. Oklahoma leads Oklahoma State 21-7. Roger Twyver, Lee Corso back with you in Stillwater, Oklahoma. 21-7, the Sooners lead the Cowboys after the first quarter. They've got it 2nd and 10 now. As they've changed ends, they've got the wind to their back. Pitch back. Stafford stacked up at the 13-yard line. As Jamel Holloway has checked in at quarterback for the Sooners. Sean Mackey, 57, Sim Drain, 53. Gaddis, the 13-yard run. Gaddis, a 44-yard run. Gundy, the 4-yard scramble for the TD. And then Perry, a 7-yard run, 21-7. And Jamel Holloway has checked into the game for the Oklahoma Sooners. There's a look at the senior from Carson, California. Hurt his knee against Oklahoma State last year and has just not been the same on 3rd and 9, and Holloway's got to call a timeout. Lee, what about putting Holloway in there right now?
Well, they know what they're doing. I'll talk about it right after the commercial.
Timeout. 21-7, Oklahoma. Big screen television. This game would look better on a Mitsubishi big screen. Roger Twyver, Lee Corso, and on a 3rd down, Oklahoma not able to convert, so for the first time today, they've got to punt the football.
They did not convert it, but they went to the I formation, something they don't do as well as the option play.
Todd Thompson standing at his 1-yard line to punt it, and Barry Sanders at his own 45, along with Melvin Gilliam. And a bad kick off the side of his foot. But he gets it to turn over, and it's going to end up being a good kick. Boy, a big break there for Oklahoma. Inside the 30, it's going to keep rolling with the wind at its back. All the way inside the 20, it's still going. It's still going. Will it reach the hole?
What a lag punt.
Oh, gosh almighty. "79 yards on the punt, 34 on the punt, and 45 on land." Isn't that something? Western Michigan in a big game in the MAC beat Ball State, so Western Michigan could end up in the California Bowl. The Jayhawks beat the Wildcats 30-12. Colorado big over Missouri, and Washington leads Arizona at halftime. And Washington State leading Stanford at the half. Oklahoma State into the win. Barry Sanders to the 19-yard line. Every yard's going to be tough for that young man today. He had a great game against Kansas State. a week ago. 320 yards, carried the ball over 30 times, he said, and I felt every hit they laid on me.
He loves to play against Kansas. You know, he's from Wichita, Kansas. And anytime you play out of state and go back and play against the state institution, you play a little harder.
He's the first player in Big 8 history to have 2 300-yard games in one season. And there have been some great backs in the Big 8. 2nd and 7. Gundy to Dykes. That's a first down at the 26-yard line. McMitchell was there to make the stop. That's a real quick-hitting timing pattern.
And it's obvious that Pat Jones has decided he's going to try to beat Oklahoma with his greatest players, and that's one of the best players on the football team, 6'4", 220, Hartley Dykes. Nice little quick play, but he's so big and strong, he just gets inside position on number 49, Carl, and it was a good play.
Just underway, second quarter from Stillwater, Oklahoma. 3 wide receivers for the Cowboys. Gundy to throw again. That's Parker, 29. Parker to the 45-yard line. Brent Parker, the sophomore from Mission Viejo, California. That young man was the 400-meter high school champion in the United States a few years back.
And he sure does a nice job of juking number 8 Parks right out there. Number 29 Parker will get it. It's one-on-one. Parks breaks down, but Parker gets away from him and makes a great play.
17 yards on the pickup, and not only are the Cowboys going into the wind, they're going into the sun right now. Sanders, look at him scoot. Not enough moves and not enough room right there as he loses a yard. Sanders this year averaging 7.7 yards a carry. The career total offense, Mike Gundy has now moved past Bob Fenimore. That record stood for over 40 years. Thurman Thomas, a great back now with Buffalo. Terry Miller, who was on the last team that beat Oklahoma, and then Rusty Hilgert.
The sun is not as much of a factor to the quarterback as it is to the receiver, so therefore it's not a disadvantage to Oklahoma State right now.
Out of the shotgun now on 2nd and 10. Penalty markers down. Dykes with the catch at the 45-yard line. It's enough for the first down, but there is a penalty marker down, and that's the first one thrown today.
I think you'll see that the man in motion was moving towards the line of scrimmage when the ball was snapped, and therefore it was a illegal procedure. 5-yard penalty against Oklahoma State.
Lee, you're usually right, and you are again.
Well, what happened on that situation, it was the first time they did it, and usually the first time you do something special like that, you always mess it up.
Illegal motion on the offense. Still 2nd down.
Pat Jones, last year, well, his team, the last team to beat West Virginia. Beat them in the Sun Bowl, 35-33. And the storyline on this game today so far, well, Gaddis, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. They've scored on 3 or 4 possessions. Sanders and Gundy, 40 yards and 5 of 8 for 76. Oklahoma State trails 21-7, 2nd and 15. Gundy finally has to eat it. At the 37-yard line, it was James Good, the second leading sack man for the University of Oklahoma, now with his 6th sack of the year.
James Good, 6'4", 233 from Houston, Texas, to the right-hand side of your picture. He'll come from the blind side, but he's got good enough speed to catch Gundy from behind. He's the same gentleman that played the option the other about 10 plays ago where he took the quarterback and the pitch. Well, that's an outstanding football player right there, James Good.
Gundy showed you some good versatility there, running with the football. He did have Dykes downfield. He chose not to throw it. Instead, he held on to it. 3rd and 15. Intercepted. Oklahoma with the interception. Wayne Dixon, the left defensive end, picked it off, his first interception of the year. A flag on the play, clipping against Oklahoma, but Dixon, the junior from Borger, Texas, with his first interception of the year.
Wayne Dixon drops off. He's supposed to rush the passer, but on the left-hand side of your picture, you'll see number 34 just sneaking around looking for the tight end right there. The reason why that play was intercepted is they never expected Dixon not to rush the passer, and he was sitting there waiting for the interception.
Also, where that pass was being thrown was not nearly enough for the first down. It was 3rd and 15. The clip after the interception, so they step off the penalty, and it'll move it back to the 48. But now, trailing 21-7, the mistake by the Cowboys in Oklahoma with good field position. And let's check out their quarterback. It's Thompson. He keeps it. He could go all the way. 1 man left. Finally dragged down at the 7-yard line by Melvin Gilliam. 47 yards on the pickup. And did the Sooners go for the knockout punch?
I'll tell you, watch the option to the right. They could score 60 points at least against Oklahoma State because of the quickness. Number 65, Weiss, the center, is down the field and makes a great block right there to allow Thompson, number 6, to go almost all the way. They've got so much more speed in Oklahoma State. It's like men playing against boys.
1st and goal from the 6. Up the middle is Rodney Anderson, a senior from Dickinson, Texas. Sid Drain and Brandon Colbert stack him right up at the line of scrimmage. Lee, the interesting thing about this series is the last 5 years, the games have been very close. Last year, 29-10, a couple of interceptions picked off and returned for touchdowns by Oklahoma. 19-0 the year before that. 13-9 in the Ice Bowl here. 24-14 and 21-20. They've been close. They've been low-scoring games.
Oklahoma stopped themselves. They're playing perfect now. Nobody stops Oklahoma, but they don't stop themselves.
2nd and 4. 2nd and goal from the 4-yard line. Pitch back. Boy, Thompson nearly lost it, and not much there.
You might ask, why are they stopped the option on the goal line? The reason is all the backs are up there. There's 11 men within 7 yards of the ball. That's why they all can play the run. But when they're in the middle of the field, they got to spread them out so much, they're gone.
Stafford was the man on the carry there, and a loss of about 4 yards. So now they're faced with a 3rd and goal from the 8. And Oklahoma wants a timeout, so now they've used their 2nd timeout of the first half. And with 8:58 left to go in the first half, the Sooners lead at 21-7. Oftentimes, the coach, and in this case, Barry Switzer, has a his personality reflects on the team. And Barry's kind of a cocky guy. He's brash, and his team reflects that personality. That's why they're not intimidated when they go on the road. No one intimidates the University of Oklahoma, and they've got a 3rd and goal at the 8-yard line. Fumble. They tried to get it to Perry. Oklahoma State has it. Lamar McGriggs with the fumble recovery for the Cowboys. So 1 turnover leads to another.
Thompson's trying to fake the ball to number 2, Perry, off the left guard, and he's trying to throw the ball downfield. Watch. He tries to bend it, but it hits the right hip of Perry. The reason why that play didn't work, it was a special play. They tried to run a fake and then run a pass. If you'll notice, he's trying to throw the football, but doesn't get it out of his belly.
Each team with 1 turnover apiece, and the Cowboys 1st and 10, and Sanders. And Barry Sanders, who says, I'm not really interested in the Heisman Trophy. If that happens, that's great, but it's not of great interest to me. He's been getting a lot of media attention of late. He's very quiet about it. He's a quiet kid by nature. And one of the interesting things is that when the Heisman is handed out, as you can see what the Cowboys have converted 25 opponent turnovers into 19 scores this season, they're going to be playing in Japan, in Tokyo, against Texas Tech. And he said, well, if it happens, I'm going to be over there playing the game. It's not going to be a big deal to me. Gundy can't get rid of it. He had a man open downfield. Jared Green was there as number 98, Dante Williams, and number 99, Tony Woods, in on the sack.
Good pressure. A play-action play. They're going to fake the ball to Sanders, try to hold the lineman, but the linemen are just coming, trying to get the man. Number 78, Evans, gets a good pass rush, forces Gundy out of the pocket. Now, the linemen from Oklahoma are so quick that they look like they can just outrun most of the quarterbacks that I've seen play this year.
3 sacks so far on the day for the University of Oklahoma. Now it's 3rd and 16 into the win and out of the shotgun. Mike Gundy in Oklahoma State. Well, he's got all sorts of room to run it if he wants. And he's caught from behind. A penalty marker is down. Wayne Dixon came from behind and got him, and that's probably going to be a face mask call. You see his shoulder pads pulled out of his jersey. It looked like Dixon had a hold of the face mask. They've encouraged Gundy to run with the football more, and he's doing it today.
This is a planned rollout. This actually was a play that looked like a run, a pass, but turned into a run. And there's 34, Dixon reaching out and getting him by the hand. Now, if it's a 5-yard penalty.
On the defense, 5 yards, first down.
Incidental, so therefore only 5 yards.
And a first down. So Oklahoma State out of the hole. It's interesting to note, Oklahoma State's pass defense is not their strong suit. Or excuse me, Oklahoma's pass defense. Oklahoma State's offensive line is their strong suit. Dykes is a great receiver, and this should be the area that Oklahoma State can attack. The University of Oklahoma is through the air. But they've got to establish Sanders, and he's had a tough time doing it so far as he gets to the 25-yard line. Let's go to Tim Brando. Tim?
All right, once again to Tuscaloosa we go, Roger, and Alabama driving. Watch David Smith on 2nd and 14 convert, and a great catch. 1 foot in is all you need, and Marco Battle had it. That led to a 20-yard field goal, the 4th of the day for Philip Doyle. 5.5 minutes remain in Tuscaloosa, and Alabama now leads LSU by 2. Roger?
Thank you, Tim. 14 carries, 45 yards for Barry Sanders. 2nd and 6 for Oklahoma State. Gundy, the option. Sanders spins. Sanders has a chance. He could go all the way. Barry Sanders is caught from behind at the 6-yard line by Jerry Parks, the freshman from Fort Bend, Texas. 67 yards on the pickup.
Beautiful option play by Gundy, number 12. He comes down, he gets knocked down by 34 Dixon. Sanders avoids one man, and Parks, Jerry Parks, has 4.4 speed, catches him from behind. Sanders is laboring there, but a tremendous play.
That's his 15th carry of the day. 14 previous carries, hard yard. First time Lee in the open field.
Number 12, Matt Mitchell from Indianapolis, Indiana, missed him. And there goes Sanders. And here comes Parks. Number 8, and catches him from behind.
First and goal from the 7. 2 wideouts to the near side. Sanders right in the middle. He gets 2 down to the 5-yard line.
You notice where that play went, though. It went outside. It looks like the Oklahoma defense has decided to stop Sanders from the inside out, forcing him to run outside. That's why he hasn't had much yardage going inside.
And a timeout called by Oklahoma State. They've got to give Barry Sanders a little bit of a rest. 5:43 to go first half. Sooners lead at 21-7. Every great tailback has had a great blocking fullback. 32, Garrett Limbrick.
Limbrick makes the block right there on number 41. Sanders makes a good move. 8. Jerry Parks is the only secondary man at Oklahoma that could catch Sanders from behind, and he's got great speed, 4.4 speed, and he does catch him right there.
And Oklahoma State has it. 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line. 5:43 left to go first half. 2 tight ends. Dykes split to the near side. Sanders, tough yards again up the middle. Down to the 2.5, 3-yard line. James Good, 39, made the tackle. They've called Reggie Jackson Mr. October for a lot of years. Maybe we have a new Mr. October. Against Tulsa, 304 yards and 5 touchdowns. Colorado, 174 and 4 scores. Nebraska, 189 and 4 touchdowns. Missouri, 154 and 2. And last week against Kansas State University, 320 yards and 3 touchdowns. And today, he's 17 carries, 118 yards, and he's out of the lineup right now as Gundy's going to throw a Dykes touchdown. The first touchdown pass and first touchdown reception against Oklahoma for Mike Gundy and for Hartley Dykes.
On the replay, you'll notice it's exactly the same play that Gundy scored a touchdown. It's a rollout designed to get to number 11, Dykes. He does get it to him this time.
And Blanchard slams home the extra point by the narrowest of margins. He kept it low and strong into the wind. And Oklahoma State is pulled to within a touchdown with 5:06 left to go in the first half from Lewis Field in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Let's check out some scores. Pitt beat Rutgers 20-10. We'll see them next week against Penn State. East Carolina over Temple 34-17. Ohio State beat Wisconsin 34-12 in the Big Ten. Iowa over Northwestern 35-10. And the turnover leads to the touchdown. And Hartley Dykes, man, he wanted to prove something coming into this game, and he's finally done it.
The big play also was the penalty.
Right.
On third down, Oklahoma State was stopped, but Oklahoma had a 5-yard penalty that gave them the first down.
8 plays, 89 yards, time 3:48. Dykes the 4-yard touchdown reception. 4 receptions, 51 yards, and a touchdown for Hartley Dykes. One of the most highly recruited players out of the state of Texas. A matter of fact, during his high school years, folks, the second all-time leading receiver in Texas schoolboy history. Caught nearly 100 touchdown passes, about 4,000 yards. Just one of the great players ever to come out of the state of Texas. Blanchard will kick it off into the wind. And that's going to be a tough kick to handle. Well, he should have let it go out of bounds, but it's picked up. Number 20 has it, Glenn Bell. And maybe he made the right decision after all. And a penalty marker is down. Penalty marker is down. Lee, this is the only field in the Big 8 that runs east to west and one of the few in the country.
Well, one of the reasons is they built it before 1914, and you didn't throw the ball. And the only reason you build fields north and south is not to have the sun as a factor.
Good point. Or if you play all your games at night like the University of Arizona does, which also runs east to west.
Or you run the wishbone now.
Good kickoff that time by Blanchard. He hooked it like a golf shot, had it turn over, and a holding call is going to be against Oklahoma. Would you have advised the player to pick it up in that situation?
No, most of the time we instructed the player just run right out of bounds there. It's better to run out of bounds.
White, face mask on the orange, where you re-kick. Replay the down.
They're going to re-kick it right now. Gaddis, you see his numbers up there. It's interesting to note, though, that Oklahoma has no one in the top 5 in the Big 8 Conference in rushing statistics. They spread it around so well, at least they have this year. But once again, as I mentioned earlier, they haven't had a 1,000-yard back in 5 years. And when you think of the likes of Marcus Dupree, Steve Owens years ago, Billy Sims, just some of the great backs, Joe Washington, that have come out of Oklahoma. You figure they turn out a 1,000-yard rusher every year with a wishbone.
One of the reasons why you don't get 1,000-yard rushers from the wishbone is the defense can dictate who's going to run the football. They can take the tailback away from them every time and let the fullback and quarterback beat you.
So Blanchard will kick it off again. Now the deep men for Oklahoma are moved up all the way to the 10-yard line. Blanchard kicking off into the wind. The gusts earlier today up to about 40 miles per hour. It's calmed down a little bit now, probably about gusting 20, 25 miles an hour. The stadium is built down into a bowl, so on the playing field, you don't feel those gusts like you do up here at our broadcast position or where the flags are above the stadium as they've turned the lights on now at Lewis Field. And low line drive kick, and that's that man Bell again. And he's at the 34-yard line where he's dragged down by a host of orange-shirted Oklahoma State players. We've got Major League Baseball coming your way here on ESPN. And we're delighted to bring you the Major League Baseball All-Stars against the Japanese All-Stars from Tokyo, Japan. That's tonight at 11:30 Eastern Time. And Mr. Shutout, Oral Hershiser, is going to be over there. So stay tuned to ESPN. That should be an outstanding game from Tokyo. Of course, you know Japan's a baseball-crazy country. 4:52 to go. First half, 21-14. Gaddis on first down. Gaddis across the 45 to the 48-yard line. And he has done a great job on first down. Lamar McGriggs, number 7, makes the stop.
They're running a counter option. Watch, they'll fake it one way and come back. And now number 68, Anthony Phillips, cleans out part of the line, and then Gaddis moves forward. And one of the things that happens when you're playing an option team is you get so concerned about the option, you forget about the middle traps.
Great numbers for Gaddis, who only had 234 yards rushing coming into this game. Gaddis again, and he's got all sorts of room. One man to beat. Gaddis. inside the 20 to the 15-yard line, where Rod Smith, the junior from Tulsa, finally makes a tackle. 37 yards on the pickup for the freshman. This guy's a freshman. From Midwest City, Oklahoma.
The wishbone is impossible to stop if you do it properly. The fullback is taken by one man. They pitch it out to Gaddis, number 32, who eliminates two men. There comes a great block by number 25, Stafford, who, if you remember, made the same block on the other side. And there goes Gaddis, number 32.
Gaddis with 185 yards now, as they'll split Adrian Cooper, the tight end, out to the top of your screen. And that's Stafford. And Stafford inside the 15, down to the 13. A gain of about 2. The clock running with 4 minutes left to go first half. Sim Drain, the third from Stillwater, the leading tackler for Oklahoma State University, along with Rod Smith, makes the stop.
Oklahoma's done a nice thing here. They run a trap play in the middle every once in a while just to keep the Oklahoma State players inside. But here they come with the option play now, the triple option.
Gaddis 185 yards rushing, the most by a Sooner so far this year. And a good defensive play there at the 15-yard line. Number 53, Sim Drain, the third. He's a local kid out of Stillwater High School.
He's a second-team All-Big 8 player in 1987. He comes from the inside. They went to the triple option. They'll go back to the triple option right now because it's impossible to stop. Now watch number 53 to your inside of your picture. He'll get inside and make good penetration. That's one of the ways to stop the quarterback, is to get to him before he can get to that seam.
Third down and 9. Leon Perry is in there along with Stafford and Gaddis. Ross is split to the top of your screen. And Thompson is stuffed at the 11-yard line. And that'll bring up a fourth down situation for the Sooners of Oklahoma with 2:43 left to go, and that means that R.D. Lasher will come on for the field goal.
Quarterback center exchange. He almost drops the ball. Now that split second eliminates the timing. That's how precise you have to be with the wishbone. Even that little split second right there stopped the timing, and Oklahoma State stops him.
Lasher will have the ball placed down at the 17, 27 yards on the attempt, with the wind to his back. And that was easy. That slams into the athletic offices, the football offices here at Oklahoma State University. So with 2:08 left to go in the first half, the Sooners move out to a 10-point lead, 24-14 for Lasher now on the season, 11 of 16 in field goals. And somebody's going to get a chance today, Lee, to kick a real long one.
Absolutely. You got to remember one thing for right now, Roger. Oklahoma State is behind 24-14, but remember, they were behind 14-0 before they looked like they could do anything. So psychologically, if they don't make any mistakes and go in here 24-14, they got a chance to win this ball.
Lee, we almost lost you there. The wind kicked up. We've got bowl represented, 17 gentlemen here from 10 different bowls. The Fiesta Florida Citrus Freedom Gator, which you'll see on ESPN. Hall of Fame you'll see on ESPN. The Holiday Bowl, also an ESPN game. Liberty, Orange, Peach, and Sun. And I'm told that the Holiday Bowl would like a verbal commitment after the game today from Oklahoma State University. They'd like to match them up with Wyoming because Oklahoma State is the last team to beat Wyoming.
One of the top
they did it last year.
One of the top teams to go to the Holiday Bowl was the Indiana team. But they got upset today, so that means Oklahoma State is definitely #1, we think, in the Holiday Bowl picture.
If they lose it, all the better. Really, I mean, you know, they'd love to see them win, but if they win it, they still got a chance at the Orange Bowl. And fumbled around in the end zone, and somebody's got to get on it, and they finally do. And Wyoming is beating Texas El Paso 51-6.
You know, going to the Holiday Bowl might be a sentence, not a reward.
The Holiday Bowl, one of the many bowl games you'll see here on ESPN. And we've got a lot more regular season coverage, of course, to bring you. Coming up later tonight, Florida State and South Carolina. This has been a game and a half. Oklahoma 310 rushing yards. Oklahoma State 120. That in the first half. That with 2:08 to go. And here come the Cowboys. Sanders has got room to the outside, and he just can't get there. He is stuffed at the 18-yard line. And the man making the tackle is James Good, number 39.
It looks like the Oklahoma front line defensively is stronger and quicker than the Oklahoma State offensive line. It looks like that Gundy, number 12, and Sanders, number 21, have got to work to the outside. Forget that inside play.
Against the Oklahoma defense, Kansas State passed for 347 yards. Kansas passed for 260 yards. You can pass against Oklahoma. Sanders across the 20 to the 23-yard line. And Gundy being the second-rated passer, passing efficiency man in the country. Hartley Dykes, a great receiver, and a veteran offensive line. You'd think that that would be the strong suit for him.
But the Oklahoma defensive line is much quicker and stronger. See, notice number 59, Stanley, is being stood up there. Once you see the numbers of an offensive lineman standing up, you're in big trouble.
Timeout on the field, 1:25 left to go, first half. What about Mike Gundy's gun?
One of the reasons he's not throwing a ball further than 31 yards, he doesn't have time. The Oklahoma linemen are on him before he can set up the throw-along pass.
1:25 left to go first half. Gundy 6 of 10, 1 interception, 1 touchdown, 80 yards. Third down and 7 now with 1:25 to go. Remember, Oklahoma has 1 timeout left. Third down and 7. Gundy's got Dykes wide open, and it's deflected at the line of scrimmage. Dykes was wide open, and it was deflected at the line of scrimmage. And with 1:20 left to go, first half, Oklahoma will get one more chance and maybe a chance to kick a field goal with the wind to their back as Kerry Blanchard will come on to punt for the Cowboys.
Kicking against the wind. One of the things that most college football teams will do, they'll go to the 2-minute offense, which is to throw the ball. Oklahoma will go to the 2-minute offense, which is to run the option. It's just as simple as that.
Blanchard will stand at his 9-yard line, averaging just under 37 yards a punt this year. Good punt into the wind. And a fair catch at the 41-yard line by Glenn Milburn. 36 yards on the punt, so a good job there by Kerry Blanchard with 1:13 left to go, first half. Coming up here at halftime on ESPN. Be sure to stay with us because Tim Brando will get you caught up in all the college football scores and highlights. And, of course, Beano Cook is around, and he always has something interesting to say. But Tim will be along at halftime with all the scores and highlights. We've got 1:13 to go. First half, Oklahoma from the 41-yard line, and Charles Thompson's a quarterback. And he runs a quarterback draw. And he's downed at the 43-yard line by Brandon Colbert, the sophomore from El Reno, Oklahoma.
If the wishbone has 2 weaknesses, it's when you're trying to play catch-up or when you're trying to move the ball down the field throwing it. You just don't have enough time to practice it.
Thompson's got a man open on the far side, and it's dropped over there by Eric Bross, number 36, a junior from Houston, and the leading receiver for the University of Oklahoma.
He probably caught 2 all year. They don't throw the ball very much. It's the first pass they tried. Remember, they don't have to pass. Last year against Oklahoma State, they had absolutely no yards passing. They had 413 yards rushing, zippo passing.
Why does a wide receiver go to Oklahoma?
Because probably he wasn't a wide receiver in high school, and they just moved him from running back so they could put him out there to be a decoy.
Third down and 8. Oklahoma's 3 of 6 on third down situations. They've missed their last 3, though. Oklahoma State's got 2 timeouts left, and that pass nearly picked off. Melvin Gilliam on the coverage, and there's a penalty marker down at the 40-yard line. It's going to be holding against Oklahoma, and this brings up an interesting situation. It's 4th down now. You take the penalty lead. You've got 2 timeouts left.
Remember, with the win, it doesn't make any difference at 10 yards. He's going to kick it 60 yards. Not. I'd rather have the football right now.
Holding. The offense is declined. 4th down.
Pat Jones and you went to the same school of thought.
Well, the reason he's thinking that is if there's a win situation. If there wasn't such a bad win, then the 10 yards would be very important. But the time is more important now than distance.
Thompson is back to punt, and Oklahoma State has not sent anybody back deep. Thompson's at his 27-yard line. There's no one back deep for Oklahoma State.
The reason they do that is so they don't fumble it now. They'd rather have the ball for sure.
End over end kick. And it gets into the end zone. 57 yards on the punt. Thompson's really getting that average up there today. So Oklahoma State with 35 seconds left and 2 timeouts will have a chance to try to move it downfield or break a big play.
I tell you what I would do, and they'll probably boo. If I was the Oklahoma State quarterback, coach right there, Pat Jones, I'd run the ball twice, and I wouldn't run Sanders, number one. I'd run the fullback and get out of here 24-14.
Because you were down 14-0 before you had a chance to turn around, and now you're down just 10 points. You've got a little confidence back, and if you only go into halftime trailing by 10, that's a big plus, but they give it to Sanders. And they bend him over at the 22-yard line.
That's exactly why I wouldn't have given the ball to Sanders, because everybody expects him to run. They're going to hurt him at that time.
And the clock continues to run. 21 seconds left to go. Of course, Barry Sanders being touted for the Heisman Trophy. But another guy who's from Oklahoma, went to Oklahoma by the name of Troy Aikman, has the sentiment of a lot of folks. And with 5 seconds left, we can hear some boos. But the Cowboys of Oklahoma State say no problem. We'll take that 10-point deficit. We'll go into halftime. We'll try to get this thing together. And we'll try to beat Oklahoma for the first time in Stillwater since 1966. We're at halftime at Lewis Field in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And the University of Oklahoma holds a 24-14 lead against the Cowboys of Oklahoma State University. Let's go to our ESPN studios and Tim Brando. Tim?
All right, Roger, and we've got quite a shootout there in the Big 8 underway between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. And a lot of conference standings are being affected dramatically today with games that are currently underway and some that are now final. We've got scores and highlights when we come back.
A 24-14 lead as we get set for the second half here at Lewis Field. And let's check out some halftime statistics, Lee, which would be great statistics for a lot of teams. But first of all, there's in this celebration at halftime here, and they honored 3 Olympians. That is Robin Ventura, who played on the baseball team. That's John Smith, a wrestler. And, of course, Oklahoma State with a great wrestling tradition. And also being honored, Kenny Monday. All 3 of those young men, gold medalists. And they were honored here at halftime. And a tremendous, tremendous honor.
Oklahoma State's athletic programs have won 37 national championships, 120 individual championships. Only UCLA.
Now final. We've got scores and highlights when we come back.
A 24-14 lead as we get set for the second half here at Lewis Field. And let's check out some halftime statistics, Lee, which would be great statistics for a lot of teams. But first of all, there's in this celebration at halftime here, and they honored 3 Olympians. That is Robin Ventura, who played on the baseball team. That's John Smith, a wrestler. And, of course, Oklahoma State with a great wrestling tradition. And also being honored, Kenny Monday. All 3 of those young men, gold medalists. And they were honored here at halftime. And a tremendous, tremendous honor.
Oklahoma State's athletic programs have won 37 national championships, 120 individual championships. Only UCLA and USC have won more championships for NCAA than Oklahoma State.
And, of course, we've seen the Oklahoma State baseball program on ESPN many times. As Oklahoma receives it, and number 5, Glenn Milburn, is run down at the 6-yard line. A pumped-up Oklahoma State team. Let's take a look now at those halftime stats, which would be good entire game stats for a lot of teams, except for the pass completions. Oklahoma 0 for 2. Oklahoma State 6 for 11. No passing yards. 77 for OSU. Then the rushing lead.
307 yards, mostly on the option play to the outside. Oklahoma does not have to run any other plays except the triple option, and they might score every time, if not every other time, against Oklahoma State.
Each team with a turnover, and Oklahoma now with Charles Thompson at quarterback takes a 1st and 10 from the 7-yard line, and they go to their fullback Perry, and he gets about 3. Marcus Jones, the nose guard, makes the tackle. How about the plus yardage, the minus yardage, and scoring drive for OU?
It's going to be a lot of gold at the beginning. Gold, touchdown, gold, touchdown. They come out and scored 3 times in a row. Then they had a punt because of the field position. They went down and fumbled and stopped themselves, went down and kicked a field goal. Oklahoma is an outstanding offensive team unless they stop themselves.
2nd and 7, and Gaddis up to the 13-yard line, where once again Marcus Jones, the senior from Port Arthur, Texas, makes a stop. Gaddis in the first half. What a tremendous job by this freshman. 9 carries, 180 yards, and a couple of touchdowns.
That was the same play that he's been breaking in the second half. In the first half, obviously, Pat Jones talked to Marcus Jones, and nose tackle, to stay at home and watch that counter trap play.
Well, all of a sudden, Marcus Jones has made 2 tackles, and we didn't call his name in the first half at all. 3rd down and 5. Oklahoma 3 of 7 on 3rd down conversions. Thompson tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Number 57, Sean Mackey. The right defensive tackle from Marlow, Oklahoma, with a big defensive play.
One of the ways to stop the wishbone is to get penetration. Watch number 57. He actually gets in the backfield that causes Thompson to trip up. Very, very fine play by 57 Mackey.
Now into the wind. Todd Thompson from his own end zone. And Sanders standing at the 46-yard line. Spiraling punt short, and a little bit of a mix-up there as Mike Clark makes the fair catch at the 45. 35 yards on the punt. And Oklahoma State University will take over with great field position. Now their possessions lead.
They didn't do anything at the beginning of the ball game, and they were down 14-0, but they came back and scored a touchdown and put them back into the ball game. They punted, but now this is the key part right there. That drive got them back into the ball game.
Dykes and Jared Green split to the top of your screen. As Sanders, trying to go outside, reverses his field, cuts up, and Sanders a couple of tough yards. Nothing's been easy today. I think even though Sanders broke that one big run, Lee, Oklahoma's defense done a tremendous job against him.
The defensive line of 99 Woods, 78 Evans, and 93 Williams are beating the offensive line of Oklahoma State, and what they're doing is forcing Sanders to bounce it outside, and their speed just takes over.
They're sending both wideouts to the near side this time. Dykes 11, Jared Green 19 on 2nd and 9. They get it back to number 17, Curtis Mayfield, and Mayfield inside the 40, down to the 38-yard line. Mayfield, a 6-foot, 176-pound sophomore, the fastest man on the field for Oklahoma State. And this is Sanders at the half against Miami of Ohio, A&M, Tulsa, all over 100 yards. Colorado 95, Nebraska 141, Missouri 83, Kansas State, and then today, and Barry Sanders against Colorado and Missouri, the 2 wishbone teams, fewer yards rushing.
Because he doesn't get to carry the ball as much, they keep the ball away from you when you're using the wishbone.
3rd down and 4. They pitch it back to Sanders. He needed to get down to the 34-yard line, and he comes up short. Now, Oklahoma State does have the wind to their back. So let's see what Pat Jones's philosophy is going to be here. Do they go for it, or do they kick the field goal?
Okay, here's his choice. 4th down and 1. He's got to go for it, in my opinion, because he's down 10. The field goal will look good, but he needs to keep the momentum going. I believe he'll go for it and should go outside, not inside.
This is the 2nd time now they've gone for it. Remember, they went for it earlier in the game, didn't make it, and Oklahoma took it right in for a touchdown.
Because they went over the right guard. They won't go over the right guard this time.
4th and 1. And now Gundy wants a timeout. So Gundy takes a timeout. 11:50 left to go, 3rd quarter. Oklahoma leads at 24-14. And want to remind you, you talk about the National Football League, Oklahoma had 13 players selected in the NFL draft last year. The Los Angeles Raiders tomorrow night and the San Diego Chargers right here on ESPN live at 8 Eastern time. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann will be along to bring you that game, and of course NFL primetime before that, get you caught up in everything that happened on Sunday in the National Football League.
I'm like every other sports fan. I just really love Sunday night NFL because it gives you a chance to be with your family, play a little golf.
You don't have to.
Swimming.
Yeah, you don't have to watch it on Sunday
That's
afternoon,
right. And you can go out and watch it at night. That's terrific. I really enjoy that.
They get you all the highlights on primetime, and of course Tom Jackson, who you coached at Louisville, who does a great job in our ESPN studios.
Finest football player I ever coached, and one of the best players to play in the National Football League.
Oklahoma State University on 4th down in 1988, 5 of 7. So that last time they tried it was the first time they missed on 4th down this year. This is 4th and 1. Sanders doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. Curtis Williams, 93, came busting through, so they waste a timeout. And they don't get the first down.
And they don't get it because they go inside. You cannot run the ball inside. Watch the defensive line from Oklahoma. The linebacker stuffs number 32, Limbrick, and that you cannot go inside against Oklahoma on short yardage. They're too strong. Notice the penetration. 93 Williams. You got to try to go outside against Oklahoma.
And Sanders has got the speed to do it. So Oklahoma now will have it 1st and 10 from the 36-yard line, as Charles Thompson will hand it to Perry right up the middle. So after they really had their first good defensive effort of the game, and they're in great field position, they don't take advantage of the situation. And when the second guessers gather tomorrow and Monday and they start talking about this game, they're going to be talking about those 2 fourth down, not necessarily the call to go for it, but how they went after it.
Because the first time should have taught them a lesson. It wasn't a fluke. They took the offensive line and knocked them into the backfield. A lot of times the defense now will have a tough time rebounding from something like that.
2nd and 5. 2 wide receivers now for Oklahoma. As Thompson, well, that's a great athletic move there as he gets to the 45-yard line, close to the first down, a couple of yards short, as he eluded a couple of tacklers. And Charles Thompson, who is a tremendous runner, that is his strongest attribute. And if you're a wishbone quarterback, that's what you ought to be.
45 Smith comes up to the inside. He's got the quarterback or the pitch. He doesn't get a chance to get right to the play because they block him, but that's a fine theory they're using. Let me tell you another thing that they're doing, Roger. They've changed the defensive front, Oklahoma State has, to covering the guards, and they're more tight inside.
They're pinching in a little
Absolutely.
bit.
You can see the difference from up here.
3rd down and 1. Everybody in tight. Thompson pitches it back. Gaddis has the first down as he's knocked out right at midfield.
3rd down and 1. A great football team at Oklahoma. Where do they go?
Outside.
Because by running the option play, you have 3 different abilities to do what? Watch the fullback. That's choice 1. Nope, he's covered. Come down. Quarterback's taken by number 57. Forget it. Pitch the ball to number 32, Gaddis. A nice block by 25, Stafford. Boom.
And Lee, the other thing, it's much more difficult to make a tackle in the open field than it is when you're boxed up inside. So Oklahoma now with the first down right at midfield. Gaddis, well, that's the most yards by a center this year, 185, and he's got a lot of football game left as Thompson checks off at the line of scrimmage at 1st and 10. Stafford. And Stafford gets about 3. So you can see the Oklahoma State defense doing a better job now. They're stuffing first down. That's the thing they weren't doing in the first half.
But the most important part right here, Oklahoma is keeping the football while Oklahoma State has the wind at her back, with Sanders sitting on the sideline, not getting a chance to play.
McGriggs and Cummings, the men on that last tackle. 2nd and 7 as Artie Guest splits out to the far side. Thompson trying to turn it back up, gets inside the 45 to the 43-yard line. As Devin Jones, 31, one of the men in there, and also number 53, that's Sim Drain, the 3rd, and he's going to make my all-name team.
Number 31, Devin Jones, is a former linebacker, fullback. He's an outstanding athlete from Duncanville, Texas. One of the things that I've found as a coach, the more a defensive team plays against the wishbone, the better it gets, because your offensive scout team can never run it as well as your opponents.
3rd down and 4. Can the Oklahoma State defense hold again? Perry right at the middle, and they did. They stopped him. Sim Drain, the man on the tackle. And now Barry Switzer will be faced with a decision on 4th and 1.
He'll punt it. Okay, now I'll tell you why he's going to punt it. Number 1, he's leading by 10, but number 2, there is no way that they're going to drive the ball 90 yards against Oklahoma. Plus, with the wind, kicking into the wind, he's got a better chance of downing it inside the 10.
Melvin Gilliam, Barry Sanders back Thompson at his 43-yard line into the wind. And that's a good kick. It bounces into the end zone, 42 yards by Thompson, as the wind is now turned around a little bit here at Lewis Field. 8:33 to go in the 3rd quarter, and Oklahoma up by 10. Today's game is being brought to you by Jeep. There's a feeling you can get only in a Jeep. By Wang Laboratories. Wang makes it work. And by Holiday Inn Hotels. There's no better way to take a timeout. Roger Twibell, Lee Corso with you in Stillwater, Oklahoma. First nationally televised game for Oklahoma State this year. And they've got it 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. split backfield right now for Mike Gundy and the Cowboys. Misdirection to Sanders, trying to get outside. Now he tries to turn it up, and 6 white-shirted defensive players stopping for no gain. Frank Blevins, 35, the strong side linebacker, the leading tackler for Oklahoma there, and also number 34 in on the stop, Wayne Dixon.
One of the things that Oklahoma does well is at halftime, you notice they made slight adjustments, but the most important thing is their gang tackling number 21, Sanders. Oklahoma State must throw the football to beat Oklahoma, no question.
Less than 8 minutes to go, third quarter. 2nd and 10, and Gundy wants to go up top. Finally throws it, intercepted. Intercepted by Oklahoma, and over there, Kirk Casper, number 46, his 2nd pickoff of the year on a very, very bad pass by Mike Gundy.
Dixon, number 34, is going to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, number 12, Gundy. If you'll notice, he holds up. Now he rushes the passer from the outside. He's got good containment, good athletic ability to move outside and force Gundy to throw it. Gundy was trying to throw the ball away, and number 46, Casper, from the left-hand side of your picture, just look, comes right in the picture.
Oklahoma now. And Perry right up the middle. Cummings makes the stop, but as we have seen so often, every time Oklahoma State's defense now has made a good stand, the offense hasn't gotten the job done.
And psychologically, that'll get players down. And one of the things that they've got to be careful with football players like Cummings there, they've got to be careful not to psychologically get down. They've got a good game plan. Just keep playing it.
Oklahoma splits out Adrian Cooper, the tight end, to the top of your screen on 2nd and 6. Perry right up the middle again. And they're content with that play as he picks up another 3. So they went to Gaddis in the first half a lot. And so far in the second half, they've been trying to go up the middle, and Oklahoma State's done a good job of stuffing them.
They're running up the middle, Roger, just to keep the Oklahoma State defensive players in there so that they can run outside like this time right here.
Perry, I don't know if he's praying down there or... Well, he's having a cigarette.
He's puffing a little cigarette. He's trying to hide from the television cameras.
I guess he's a little nervous, huh? 24-14. 6:40 left to go. Third quarter. Gaddis is hit hard at the 15-yard line. He's short of the first down on 3rd and 3. Sim Drain was the man, along with Torrance Cummings, that hit him.
You're calling the linebackers' names, Cummings, Drain, 58, 53, because they're pressuring. They're coming in and meeting the blocker, and they're trying to get penetration. It's 4th down. He'll go outside this time. If he runs the option, watch out. It could be a touchdown.
They send in 86 Billy Dice, the brother of Hart Lee Dice. He's a backup tight end. And on 4th and 1, the Sooners will go for it. Perry, I don't think he got it. He had to get inside the 15-yard line, and the official is standing behind the 15.
Oklahoma went over their right guard, number 68, Anthony Phillips, because he's a first-team All-American, great prospect.
This, with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter, is the biggest play of the game, bringing those chains out right now to measure it.
They went with Perry. Number 6, Thompson, hands the ball to Perry. Number 2, gets a good block by the fullback, but he didn't make it. They got stuffed at the line of scrimmage.
Big defensive play by the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. They trail it by 10. When your defense 95th in the nation and they hold Oklahoma on 4th and 1, yeah.
All right. Pat Jones told us yesterday the most influential man in the coaching career he's ever had was Frank Broyles from Arkansas. Got great confidence in Frank.
Gundy hit his first 3 passes since then, 4 of 10 with a touchdown and 2 interceptions as Sanders goes up the middle now. So the Oklahoma State defense has risen to the occasion to start the second half, but the offense hasn't countered for it.
They've gone a little conservative. When we talked at the top of the show, they got to play wide open attack. Don't be afraid. Look, you scored 1 touchdown in 3 years against these guys. Keep throwing it.
Well, they've gotten 2 more today, so that's a plus for Oklahoma State on 2nd and 7. Gundy checking off at the line of scrimmage now. Throws it quick out to the far side, and Parker has enough for the first down at the 26-yard line. Brent Parker tackled by Scott Garl and Ken McMitchell. Let's check out some other college football scores for you on this Saturday. And there have been some great games. Southern Cal and Cal just underway in the first quarter. Miami leads Tulsa 34-0 in the fourth. UCLA 16-6 over Oregon in the fourth quarter. Not a big day offensively there. Michigan has beaten Minnesota 22-7 in the Big Ten. First and 10, Oklahoma State, 26-yard line, out of the shotgun now. And a whistle flags as John Bovair, the center for Oklahoma State, not able to get the snap off. Interesting, going out of the shotgun on first down. Pat Jones told us that Gundy really likes to. A motion penalty against Oklahoma State. He's only 5 feet 11 inches tall, and he really feels more comfortable out of the shotgun.
Head ball, illegal procedure on the offense.
One of the disadvantages of the shotgun, though, is that you must look the ball into your hands and take your eye off the secondary. Sometimes the quarterbacks cannot read the secondary as well from the shotgun.
Not a lot of penalties these days, just 2 for each team now. First and 15. 2 wide receivers split to the near side. Gundy's got to scramble again. Finally hits his man. Sanders still on his feet. Sanders across the 40 to the 45-yard line. And folks, he did it all by himself. It was supposed to be a screen, and he got in front of his blockers.
One of the great things that they do at pro football is they take a guy like Sanders, 21 right there, and they get the ball to him a lot of different ways. Oklahoma State gets the ball to him here. Now it's nothing more but a running play. But look, that's better than all the blocking in the world. He makes his own move, gets away from another guy, takes off, and number 12 catches him from behind.
Just his 13th reception of the year as Gundy throwing again. He's got Parker. Parker run out of bounds at the 45-yard line, and that'll be close to another Oklahoma State first down. Jerry Parks on the coverage.
This is what I was talking about. A little quick pass here, a screen. Now, we haven't called Hartley Dykes in the second half, number 11. Throw the ball in this direction. Even when they cover him, Gundy will find that Dykes will catch the football.
Lee, the wind is turned around now, and it's coming out of the north, so it's not directly behind the Oklahoma State Cowboys. As Gundy has hit his last 3 passes, he's checking off again as Oklahoma's showing blitz at the line of scrimmage. And Sanders will take it up the gut. He's inside the 45, and he's got the first down to the 44-yard line of Oklahoma. As Barry Sanders, what kind of consistent back has he been, Lee? Well, he's led the nation in scoring, rushing, and all-purpose rushing every week of this season.
Nice block this time by number 32. Lindbrick gets a good block on the linebacker, 56. Willard just gets in the way enough where that Sanders can squeeze through a small hole for a first down.
Dykes 11, Mayfield 17, split out to the far side on first and 10 from the 43-yard line. Gundy rolling left. He's got nobody over there trying to get it against the grain, and he runs out of bounds. A penalty marker down as he's chased out at the 42-yard line on the far side. Scott Garl was one of the men giving chase over there, and also trying to catch up with him was James Good, number 39. And the holding call against Oklahoma State. That time, Lee, they had 2 tight ends and split both their wideouts to the far side, and there seemed to be a bit of confusion on the play.
What they're trying to do is spread the Oklahoma defensive players around. It's basketball.
Holding. Offense, still first down.
It's like the theory that basketball coaches use. Spread the men out in a zone defense and pick them in little spots. This penalty will not hurt Oklahoma State. They can still throw the ball effectively and get another first down.
Oklahoma State, the last team to defeat Wyoming and West Virginia, both of those teams unbeaten this year. 3:59 to go. Third quarter, and Barry Switzer knows he's got his hands full right now. First and 20 out of the shotgun. Jared Green in motion to the near side. Boy, Lindbrick was wide open out of the backfield and intercepted. Intercepted by Kevin Thompson, his 5th pick of the year, and he took it right away from Brent Parker.
Thompson Thompson from Houston, Texas, was playing in the middle. Number 19 comes down the field. Green, all of a sudden, 30-29 is free, but watch him. Nice close on the ball, and he just took the ball away from him. 5'11", 191 pounds, just stripped the ball away from him. Watch number 22. Good movement there.
5th interception of the year, and with 3:52 to go, third quarter, the Sooners have it. Pitch back. Stafford's got room to the outside. Across midfield to the 45-yard line, and an Oklahoma first down. Rod Smith, 45, made the tackle.
It's amazing. Oklahoma State changes their defense, so Oklahoma goes to a different kind of an option. It's called a counter option. They pitch it real quick. The Stafford 25, and there he goes.
Lee, they've got their tight end Cooper split out. They're not using a tight end. They've got 3 men in the full house backfield, and it's a different look.
That's exactly my point. They do so many things from the wishbone that every time you do something, they change. And there, the 2 wideouts are split again.
That's a tight end Cooper split to the top of your screen. Thompson. Gaddis at the 42-yard line after a gain of 3, and let's go to Tim Brando. Tim.
How did the former #1 team do today, Roger? Well, we're about to show you. The UCLA Bruins had a tough time in Eugene, Oregon against the Ducks. Watch here as Brian Brown breaks a couple of tackles, gets 1 good block, and then it's just speed. 68 yards he goes, and the Bruins get back on the W side, 16-6 over Oregon. Let's get back to Stillwater and Roger.
Okay, thank you very much, Tim. Of course, the Heisman battle between Aikman and Sanders, if it is, not a real big day for Troy Aikman there on 2nd and 8. And a good job by the Cowboys defense as Thompson falls across the 40 to the 39-yard line, and they'll have a 3rd down and 6 upcoming. Mike Clark, a freshman from Houston, the defensive back, came up to make the tackle. A lot of players from the state of Texas on these 2 teams, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. 3rd down and 6 with 2:19 to go, third quarter. Gaddis splits out now to the far side. Thompson, not quite enough. Great athletic move by Charles Thompson to turn a no gain into a gain of 5, but he comes up a yard short.
You watch Thompson. He's running the I formation, but he's running the same play. Notice he fakes the ball to Perry, the fullback, coming down for the option, cuts it in. Colbert, number 91, misses the tackle, and he drives himself forward. Now it's 4th down.
And they're going for it.
All right, now.
This is the 4th time today a team has gone for it on 4th down, the 2nd time for Oklahoma.
They went over the right guard last time. They need to run the option, and they might score.
4th down and 2 now. Oklahoma State splits out their middle people. Thompson is going to keep it. He's got it. He fumbles. Sim Drain, a penalty marker's down. Sim Drain, 53, falls on it. Oklahoma State has it. Oklahoma State has it. And this is a fired-up bunch of Cowboys from Oklahoma State University with 1:20 left to go in the third quarter. They trail it by 10. Now the official pick flag, no penalty, and Oklahoma State has it.
Thompson runs the ball down the line. He's running the option. 31, the left-hand side of your picture. Devin Jones right there knocks the ball loose. And Oklahoma State dodges a bullet. He was on his way for a touchdown. The ball was stripped, and Oklahoma State's got the football.
1st and 10 from the 32-yard line. 4 wide receivers now for the Cowboys, and they give it to Sanders up the middle, across the 35 to the 36-yard line. And folks, the wind is not much of a factor. It's calmed down. It's coming out of the north right now. And consequently, that's going to change the strategy here in the late going as 1:02 left to go. And you see the flag just kind of cuddling up around that flagpole right now as Barry Sanders, a true team player. 2nd and 6. Gundy nearly has it picked off, but it's caught. Lee Dykes makes the reception on the deflection, Ken McMitchell was the man that got his hand on it. Lee, I thought Oklahoma had another pick.
Number 12, Mitchell hits the ball and flex it into Dykes, number 11. You know what great concentration it takes to catch a ball like that? That's unbelievable. Once the ball is deflected, it starts turning end over end. Watch it again. Watch the concentration on Dykes' eyes. He never loses contact, takes the ball with one hand. Great play.
And Sanders again. You know, one of the impressive things about Barry Sanders coming into this game, carrying the ball 192 times for nearly 1,500 yards. He had only lost 25 yards. Just imagine that. All those times carrying the football, all that yardage out there, and he only loses 25 yards. Well, there's a great running backs here at Oklahoma State. Miller, Ernest Anderson, Thurman Thomas, and now Barry Sanders. Second down and 8. 10 seconds to go, third quarter. Gundy looking deep. Well, he had Dykes down there. Now he throws it to Sanders. Nice spin move to the 41-yard line, and it's going to be 3rd and 2 as we've completed 3 quarters of play at Lewis Field, Stillwater, Oklahoma. The Sooners of Oklahoma lead Oklahoma State 24-14. Roger Twibble, Lee Corso back with you at Lewis Field, Stillwater, Oklahoma. 3rd and 2 for Oklahoma State at the Oklahoma 41-yard line. Sanders has got the first down, still going inside the 35 to the 34-yard line for a Heisman Trophy candidate, Barry Sanders.
What a great effort that was. Number 73, Kidder. Number 51, Bovera. Come off the ball really nice. But watch this right there. He's hit. The ball is trying to be stripped by number 78, Evans, but he drives himself forward. Watch number 78, Evans, try to strip the ball away from him, but he's strong enough to keep it right there.
1st and 10, 3 wide receivers. Mayfield and Green split to the near side, and they'll go to Sanders! Outside! Barry Sanders! Barry Sanders to the 1-yard line! 34 yards on the pickup.
ISO play. Starts one way, comes back. It's a great block by number 33, Lindbrick right there. Makes a move and makes number 22, Thompson, miss him. Number 12, McMitchell catches him from behind. But look at every single effort he gives. What a great effort by Barry Sanders. That is strong, folks. 1st and goal from the 2. Sanders is stopped at the 1-yard line. 46, Kurt Casper, the senior from Houston, Texas, stuck a shoulder in there and knocked him back. Just underway, 4th quarter, Stillwater, Oklahoma. The Sooners unbeaten in Big 8 play. Oklahoma State with the 1 loss to Nebraska. They're not just fighting for an in-state rivalry, they're fighting for the Big 8 championship and a berth in the Orange Bowl. Sanders, if he would average 216 yards over the final 4 games, would break Marcus Allen's record, and he's in for the touchdown. '25th touchdown of the year for Barry Sanders. Sanders 2021, good offensive line surge, but watch the explosion, leg power. There's where that 42-inch vertical jump comes into play. What great power with his legs to jump over the top of the Oklahoma defense. Kerry Blanchard to attempt the point after. And it's good. 13:37 left to go. Oklahoma 24, Oklahoma State 20. Today's game is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Budgetel, America's overnight success. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. And it's wild here in Stillwater right now. Blanchard to kick it off. Rod Fisher, number 7. And Glenn Milburn, number 5. Low line drive kick. And Fisher at the 15-yard line. To the 30. Sanders, number 21, goes over the top. The number 32, Lindbrick, gets a great block. Right there, if you notice, number 32 leading away, and there went 21. Sanders right over the top. Keep your eye on the fullback, 32. This is why the play goes. He blocks 46 and allows Sanders to go over the top. Great play, Oklahoma State.
And what a great back Barry Sanders is. His Heisman stock increases every week.
Every play.
First and 10, Oklahoma at the 30-yard line. Two wide receivers again. Tight end is Cooper to the near side, and Perry is stuffed right up the middle. Let's go to Tim Brando. Tim?
Roger, that other Heisman Trophy candidate, well, Rodney Peete is watching his defense score against California. Here's Troy Taylor. This pass is picked off by Cleveland Coulter. He runs it back 20 yards for the touchdown. It's now 7-3 USC. But could it be Barry Sanders is now ripping the Heisman away from Tinseltown?
If you asked anybody here in Stillwater, they'd say yes. 2nd and 8. Thompson in trouble. He's stopped at the 30-yard line. 57, Sean Mackey was the first man to get back to him. Brandon Colbert finished him off.
You called Mackey's number, 57. They're getting penetration. Watch to the left of your picture. 57 gets into the backfield. That disrupts the wishbone by forcing Thompson deeper and allows the pursuit from Oklahoma State to get there.
This is a different defensive team than we saw in the first half.
It's also a different defensive alignment. They play in a 4-3 defense like Miami does the Hurricanes.
3rd down and 10, and of course the Hurricanes with great success against Oklahoma through the years. Rodney Anderson is in at fullback right now. Thompson going downfield, nearly intercepted, and a beautiful defensive play by freshman Mike Clark. The intended receiver was Eric Bross, and Oklahoma has to punt it with 12:09 to go.
Fake little option, top of your picture, Bross, number 36, will run a post. But number 1, watch his left hand right there. He rocks it down with his right hand. What a sensational play, because he didn't cause pass interference. Right there. Gets in front of the man. Terrific play.
Sanders is back with Gilliam as Todd Thompson standing at his 15-yard line. And a beautiful high spiraling kick. Gilliam backpedaling at the 19. Gilliam to the 23-yard line, and Oklahoma State will have it. 11:57 to go, 51 yards on the punt for Todd Thompson, and the momentum has shifted. Oklahoma State has the momentum, the crowd, everything going for it.
Oklahoma started off in the first quarter. They jumped ahead 14-0. Sometimes if you score too fast, too early, you have a tendency to let down.
Oklahoma State came back, made it 21-14, 24-14 at halftime. And then with the score here, and it's 24-21, Mike Gundy, 1st and 10, and Sanders again! Barry Sanders across the 35 to the 37-yard line. Scott Garl, Kevin Thompson make the tackle, and for some reason, John Bovair, Jason Kidder, and Brian Woodard on that right side are blowing people out now.
And one of the reasons why it's working so well is that they're doing a good job of giving the perception they're lining up in a passing formation, and they're now running the ball straight at them. Good
33 carries, 195 yards, and lead, fast feet.
And this is against Oklahoma. It's not the Sisters of the Poor.
It's not Kansas, and it's not Kansas State. Jared Green knocked out of bounds at midfield, and Oklahoma State has got confidence. Oklahoma State has got momentum, and it feels, if we were betting people, that the team in the orange could come away with their first win in Stillwater since '66.
Matt Jones is a very close friend of Jimmy Johnson's. They're attacking the Oklahoma defense now exactly the way the University of Miami Hurricanes does. Also, they've changed the defense to play the Hurricane defense the second half, and they're doing much better.
Gundy has hit 6 of his last 7 passes. 1st and 10 from the 50. End around. That's Mayfield. Curtis Mayfield. Mayfield to the 21-yard line. Finally, Kevin Thompson makes the tackle. Mayfield, who's a 7'2" high jumper and the fastest man on the team, really made something out of a play that looked like it might have been stopped.
What a great call. They ran Sanders to the right. They ran a little reverse play to Mayfield number 17. The reason why that play worked so well is they used number 21, Barry Sanders, as a decoy. As soon as he went one way, the Oklahoma defense went that way.
30 yards on the pickup. 1st and 10. Sanders. And a great play by number 39, James Good, who got him by one hand on the jersey and was able to hold him up. A loss of about a yard on the play, and that'll make it 2nd and 11. Look at Good's left arm. He's only got one hand. That whole left hand is all taped up.
You can play college football with a soft cast as long as it's wrapped with foam around it. That's perfectly legal.
So now the best defense in the second half has been the Oklahoma State defense, and now the offense is starting to help them out. Gundy to throw. The reception by Jarrett Green, and another 1st down inside the 10, down to the 9-yard line. Jerry Parks, Ken McMitchell in on the stop.
You notice we're calling Greens number 19, Parker number 29. The reason why they're open is they're getting one-on-one coverage because they're double covered. Harley, Dykes the other side. One-on-one coverage. McMitchell's got him man for man. Cannot cover him. Good catch by Green. 6'1", 200-pound forward.
And Gundy's got a lot more authority throwing the football in this second half. 1st and goal from the 9-yard line. Sanders the lone setback. A hole up the middle, but plugged by Scott Evans, 78.
You mentioned it before, but in our conversation with Barry Switzer on the phone yesterday, he said that gentleman right there, Scott Evans, is the best down lineman in the Big 8 right now, and he's only a sophomore.
Evans, 6'3", 251 pounds, from Edmond, Oklahoma. A gain of 1 on that play. 2nd down and 8. Garrett Lindbergh back in at fullback. Gundy going to Hartley Dykes. He makes a catch. Dykes makes the catch at the 1-yard line. Scott Garl was all over him, and what a wonderful reception by the senior.
He goes down on an outcut. He goes to the inside, bounces off number 49, Gar, and makes a terrific catch right there. You know what's happening? The superstars are coming out. Dykes 11, 21 Sanders, 12 Gundy, and here comes Sanders this time over the right guard.
And where would they be without those 3?
But they're using them effectively. That's the thing that's impressive now.
3rd down and goal from the 2. Sanders, touchdown! Touchdown of the year for Barry Sanders, and he only needs 4 to break the NCAA record held by Lydell Mitchell and Mike Rozier of 29 in the season. 27-24, and Oklahoma State will send in Kerry Blanchard to kick the point after. That young man is everything everybody told us he was and more. Penalty marker is down. Penalty marker is down. The point after was good.
Oklahoma's offside.
And Lee Corso is right again.
It's obvious the guy jumped way ahead.
8:45 to go, 4th quarter. And Oklahoma State with the lead.
Watch 32, Limbrick. Knocked down number 49, Gar. If 21 Sanders wins the Heisman Trophy, he ought to give a leg of it to number 32. Watch the good blocking on the line of scrimmage, but he knocks him down right there. Number 99,
Roger Gibbs.
Roger Gibbs gets a good block.
28-24, Oklahoma State. Barry Sanders, 36 carries, 196 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
If Tim Brown could win the Heisman on ESPN, why can't that guy?
He's got a good shot. He has an excellent shot. From Wichita, Kansas. 28-24. Oklahoma State leads at 8:45 to go. Blanchard to kick it off, and a deep kick. You can see the wind no longer blowing out of the west. And the wind not a factor right now. As that scoring drive for Oklahoma State. Another good one. 8 plays, 72 yards. Time, 3 minutes, 12 seconds. And Sanders with his second touchdown.
They utilized every one of their weapons. Outside pass, a little draw play, a little reverse play. A wide open attack gives Oklahoma's defense problems.
Now, let's see how this Oklahoma State defense holds up. Look at that, 205 yards in the first quarter. Since then, 109. 1st and 10 from the 20. Thompson across the 25 to the 29-yard line. Charles Thompson brought down by Melvin Gilliam. Also, 53, Sim Drain the third, and that'll be close to a first down.
Thompson is a magnificent quarterback from Lawton, Oklahoma. When he comes down the line of scrimmage, he's got such great athletic ability. He avoids the Oklahoma State players with great quickness.
Oklahoma looking to go 11-1 for the 4th consecutive year. Remember, they've lost 1 game already this year. 2nd and 1. Gaddis runs into the official at the 36-yard line, spins ahead to the 38, and he's got an Oklahoma first down. Now, patented Oklahoma football this time would be to use about 7.5 minutes driving it down the field for the winning touchdown.
And they can do that. They might find a way to stop Gaddis now. Just place the official in the spots where he runs, and he runs into him.
There you go. Gaddis came into this game 40 carries for 234 yards and a touchdown. He's got over 200 yards rushing tonight. A tremendous evening by Gaddis and by Sanders on 1st and 10. Thompson out of the backfield to Perry. Still on his feet across midfield to the 46-yard line. Leon Perry, the fullback, with just his 7th pass reception of the year. 17 yards in the pickup before Brandon Colbert made the tackle.
Nice call by Jim Donovan, the offensive coordinator from upstairs. They run a little play-action play. Number 20, number 2, slips into the backfield. Perry does, catches the ball, avoids one Oklahoma State man, and then on his way and gets out of bounds. This is a nice drive by Oklahoma.
Gaddis to the 40-yard line, number 98, David Bailey, senior from Oklahoma City, makes a stop. Second down and 5, and Thompson got his first pass completion of the game.
And sooner or later, he's going to fake that ball and throw it somebody deep down the corner, because Oklahoma State's secondary is just coming running up and defending the run.
Well, you see, Gaddis has done something that no other Oklahoma back has done since '86. 2nd and 5. Pitch back. Gaddis. They're stringing it out. Good job by the Oklahoma State defense. They really covered the open side of the field that time. Torrance Cummings, the junior from Fort Smith, Arkansas, the man that made the stop.
He bided times for number 45, Smith, and the rest of his teammates had come in. They made them pitch the ball quick, which turns into a toss play. Nice defensive play on the outside, but there's 45. You notice a secondary man way up there.
Lamar McGriggs also did a good job of stringing it out. It's 3rd down and 4 with 6:24 left to go. And 3rd down conversions. The Sooners 4 for 13.
Watch the option play.
Thompson wants a timeout. Charles Thompson calls a timeout with 6:13 left to go. The Sooners trail the Cowboys. Roger Twybo, Lee Corso back with you in Stillwater, Oklahoma. 3rd down and 4 for the Sooners.
What Oklahoma likes to do in this situation is come up and call the option play on the line of scrimmage. Watch it to the left.
Gaddis. 1st down, Oklahoma, as he's inside the 35 to the 34-yard line. And there is Mike Gundy. the quarterback for Oklahoma State University, who set a conference record for freshman and sophomore for most passing yards, and he's having a tremendous junior year. First and 10, Oklahoma. 6:02 left to go. Thompson. Good job by Thompson inside the 30 to the 29. Let's go to Tim Brando. Tim.
Roger, it's as if somebody came out of the press box and said, Pete, you better get hot. And Hot Rod did. Here's a touchdown pass from Rodney Peete to Scott Galbraith. He has 100 yards passing in the first quarter, does Rodney Peete. The Trojans lead Cal 14-3. Let's get back to Stillwater.
This is like a political race between these Heisman Trophy candidates. Not to leave Rodney Peete out. He's had a great year. And he's running neck and neck with Aikman and Sanders. 2nd and 5. Pitch back. Stafford, excuse me, wasn't looking for it. And he falls on his own fumble back at the 33-yard line.
Thompson was forced to pitch the ball a little quicker than normal. Number 25 is not ready because automatically he was ready to look for some kind of an option where he pitched it so quickly. Stafford knows that he's got to be alert, but Oklahoma State pressured Thompson till he had to really flip it out there really too quick.
Clock continues to run. 4:48 left to go. Now, look at this. Out of the I formation. 3rd down and 7. Thompson to Gaddis. Gaddis fumbles the ball. Recovered, though, at the 25-yard line. It looks like it'll be enough for the first down. Number 76, Mark Van Kiersveld, was the man that fell on it, and it looks like it's going to be enough for the first down.
A little hot screen, which means he throws the ball out there, now it turns into a run. Good blocking by 68 down the field. Watch him get stuck right there. Ball is loose. Oklahoma falls on it, and it's going to be interesting. If it's 4th down, I know he's going to go for it, but I wonder where he's going to go.
Boy, you talk about the ball bouncing in the right spot. The last 2 plays, Stafford loses it. It bounces right back up in his hands. And then you can see just shy of the first down. And then that particular play, the fumble, it bounces right at the big tackle. And it'll be 4th and inches. There's a look at Van Kiersveld, 6'2", 270, a junior from Shawnee, Kansas. Played at Rockhurst High School in Kansas City, which has turned out a number of outstanding players through the years.
They like to go behind him and number 68, Anthony Phillips, usually with the fullback to the right side.
4:31 left to go. I've seen more calls on 4th down for going for it today than I have all season. 4th and inches. They run into each other, but I think you got it. Stafford and Thompson ran into one another, but it looks as though he fell forward to get the first down. Now, Lee, I thought maybe they were trying to draw Oklahoma State offside with a long count.
No, they were trying to run a lead play, and they were called, what they call the huddle is lead right or left, and he calls it automatic, but they busted the play, but he's got enough presence of mind to drive it in there, and looks like he might have made the first down.
Can you believe these last 3 plays for Oklahoma? Are they living right or what? Look at this.
You got to have a little luck.
And it's a first down. First down for Oklahoma with 4:06 left to go. There have been some strange twists and turns in this series the last few years. The kicking game has decided a lot of the games. We mentioned earlier how close they've been, and obviously Oklahoma's got most of the breaks because they've been winning all the games.
Barry Switches also tell them, now look, make sure we get a good drive. We don't want to give the ball back to Oklahoma State with too much time.
A field goal's no good. 4-point lead for the Cowboys. Perry, good second effort inside the 20, down to the 18-yard line. Oklahoma State's defense led by Brandon Colbert on the stop, and the Cowboys defense has done a tremendous job in the second half after almost being run out of the stadium. And speaking about running out of the stadium, this guy has literally run out of the stadium tonight, Barry Sanders.
But he cannot play as long as Oklahoma has the ball and the clock moving. They've got the advantage right now.
Second down and about 5. Gaddis right at the line of scrimmage. Little or no gain is Brandon Colbert. We keep calling 91's name. Been in a lot of tackles. 6'2", 260, a sophomore from El Reno, Oklahoma. And as every year goes by, Lee, Pat Jones in his recruiting war against Oklahoma, he says, I can get about 1 out of 3 now. He says Oklahoma still gets 2 of the best kids, but I'm getting 1 of them now.
And it's obvious if he goes to Kansas and get a guy like Sanders, it's worth it.
Third down and 4. Ross splits out to the far side. Thompson's got room. Thompson. Touchdown. Touchdown run, his 8th. Make that 9th rushing touchdown of the year. And Charles Thompson has got Oklahoma back up on top. .233 left to go. R.D. Lasher comes on to attempt the point after to give him a 3-point lead. And it's good. 2:33 left to go. Oklahoma leads Oklahoma State 31-28.
Oklahoma State took a chance. They put everybody up on a pitch man. They give Thompson just a crease, and boom, he was gone. He outrun 53, drain, touchdown Oklahoma. There's still enough time. 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Sanders, Dykes, and Gundy have enough time.
He's going to go back to Norman with it.
As we look at it from another angle, you watch. He comes down the line. The quarterback has now got the ball. Number 98, Bailey takes the pitch out, which forces him to run it to the inside.
And a good block by Bross, the wide receiver on that side. And the crowd here in Stillwater, sellout crowd of better than 50,000. As Thompson, the man to replace Jamel Holloway, has led his team back in front. Led his team back in front. Todd Thompson to kick it off. And back deep, yeah, 21, Barry Sanders. You better believe it. 22, Mitch Nash. This has been one of the best college football games I've had a chance to watch in a long time. Hope you've enjoyed it at home. We got another one coming up, Florida State, South Carolina right afterwards, and this is Sanders, and he's going to go for it. He's stopped at the 9-yard line. University of Oklahoma, Ted Long, a backup defensive back, made the tackle. Scoring drive, 13 plays, 80 yards time, 6 minutes and 12 seconds, and Thompson the 18-yard run.
And it's amazing, but about 11 plays before that, you said, now watch Oklahoma go into one of their typical drives and go 80 yards and score to go ahead of them.
And not only typical, but 3 consecutive plays, 2 fumbles, and a play that got messed up, and they didn't lose the football.
Now Oklahoma's got 5 defensive backs in there. They're playing the nickel defense, trying to intercept the football.
Gundy down the middle, and he's got Dykes. Hartley Dykes is tripped up at the 30. Pat Jones told us yesterday they'd love to see the nickel.
Number 11, Dykes, goes down. He's going to run what they call a drag pattern, which means he comes underneath. He gets away from one man, and wow, number 22, Thompson, saves a touchdown with that tackle.
22 yards on the last play. 1st and 10, Oklahoma State. Dykes, scattered to the 45-yard line. Hartley Dykes.
When in doubt, go to your superstars. He comes down the middle of the defense, watches concentration, he catches the football. Number 12, Mac Mitchell can't stay with him. The reason why he's getting open now, Roger, is they can't afford to double team him with 2 minutes to go in the game.
2:05 to be exact. Oklahoma State with 2 timeouts left, and that pass, just off the hands of Jarrett Green. And on the coverage, Jerry Parks, and he really put a lick on Green over there.
Anytime you get a defensive back like Parks that comes up and makes a great hit on an out like that, watch out for the out and up. The coach upstairs likes to call that play.
2nd and 10. Exactly 2 minutes left to go. Oklahoma 31. Oklahoma State 28. Quick out. Dykes has got it again. He slips at the 38-yard line. Hartley Dykes averaging nearly 20 yards of reception, coming into this game with over 800 yards all-time. Big 8 leading receiver as the clock continues to run with 1:40 left to go. Call it 3rd down and 4. They give it to Sanders. He's got the 1st down inside the 30 to the 28-yard line.
Oklahoma State also has 2 timeouts that they can utilize here.
As they move the chains, the clock stops as Gundy brings him up to the line of scrimmage. 1st and 10. Gundy down the middle. The intended receiver was Parker. He wanted to flag. He didn't get it, but it stops the clock with 1:20 to go. Jerry Parks on the coverage. Let me tell you something about Mike Gundy from Midwest City, Oklahoma. When he was a high school senior, he drove his team over 80 yards in 2 minutes and 13 seconds to win the state title.
He has the same opportunity here. This is the state title.
It is.
Only it's a bigger title.
And it's not just the state title. They're going for the Big 8 title, too. Sanders. Sanders has got some room. Sanders to the 20-yard line. Just shy of a 1st down. Kevin Thompson came up to make the tackle. Also there, Richard Dillon, who's checked into the game, number 41. He is their best linebacker, has been out with an injury as Oklahoma State will take their 2nd timeout with 1:03 to go. They trail it by 3. On the one footnote on that Mike Gundy story about his high school, the state championship game was here at Lewis Field, and they went in the same direction. Little deja vu, Lee?
Absolutely. 3rd down, 2. You need to run the ball to get the 1st down and then line up and watch for a right-hand corner out where it says Oklahoma State. That's the area to go for a touchdown to win the game.
Sanders, 38 carries, 214 yards, the 3rd best in his career. Gundy, Sanders. They get it to the 19. It's going to be close, and they keep the clock going. Now they stop it because they're going to have to measure it. That's going to be very close, and now a penalty marker is thrown. A penalty marker is thrown, and it's going to be, I think, Limbrick, 32. Boy, that was way after the play, and it was out of bounds. A penalty marker was thrown on the Oklahoma side. Now the chain's being brought across.
Now, if it was a penalty, and if it was on Oklahoma State, it would be marked off right now because it was after the ball was dead.
And it was just short of the 1st down. Just short of the 1st down at the 19-yard line. Boy, they are being ever so careful putting this ball down. Now the officials are going to talk it over.
It's the option play to Sanders, number 21. Keep your eye on the left-hand side of your picture and see if there's any penalties.
Dead ball. Personal foul. This one.
A personal foul is called against Oklahoma State. Limbrick was blocking, but you saw the man 41, Richard Dillon, pulling him out of bounds. Boy, what a call to make with a minute left to go in the game.
Loss of down now. It's 4th down.
Now it's loss of down. It's 4th down. The ball is back at the 34-yard line, and Pat Jones has got to take off his glasses. And what do you do here, Lee?
You throw the ball to number 11. You take him right to the middle and then break him to the outside, and you hit him over there about the 20 about the 19-yard line to the right-hand side of the picture right now.
And sometimes, if you're an Oklahoma State fan, you got to sit there and say, what in the world do you have to do to beat Oklahoma? The timeout taken by the Sooners of Oklahoma with 51 seconds left to go. And I'm afraid that personal foul call was one of those calls where the officials saw the end of the play and not the beginning of what happened.
I always felt as a coach, if the game could be decided by the players on the field and not with a guy with a striped shirt, I'd feel a lot better. Right now, Pat Jones has got to feel like the game was won by that call right there. Even if they don't win the ball game, they get at least a fourth down to get a chance to try for it, right?
You always know, whether you're a player, you're a coach, you're an official, it's late in the game. It's a heated contest, and that shouldn't decide the outcome of the game. Now, we don't know if it is yet or not because they've still got a fourth down. But the point is, we saw on that replay, Dillon pulling Limbrick by the shoulder pads. And, folks, watch number 32. He's blocking to your left, and Dillon is 41.
The fullback, 32. 41, watched the play the whole time. He's got a hold of him, he pulls him, and he calls that a personal foul and could cost the game. I tell you what, unless you're absolutely positive, don't call anything like that and disrupt a great game like this.
The side judge, Michael Bogard, one of the officials over there. Goodness, goodness, goodness. Three wide receivers to the right side. Dykes is in the middle of the three. 4th down and 14. Gundy has got Parker. Oh, he dropped it. Brett Parker dropped the football.
You can tell by this play right here who wins it. Oh. Unless you've been on the sideline and feel what that man is going through, you don't have any idea. Number 29 gets in the end zone. A perfect shot by Gundy. The ball is going to be caught right here off of his shoulder.
Might have been slightly tipped. Hartley Dykes. Oklahoma has it. 1st and 10. The Cowboys with just one timeout and 40 seconds left to go.
Well, let me tell you a story about this. And when I was a coach in Indiana, I lost a heartbreaker to Michigan like this, and it cost me the big chance for the Big Ten championship, but it got me a major bowl. This game has propelled Oklahoma State into a major bowl situation and Sanders into the Heisman Trophy winning.
Parks was the man back there lead defensively. He might have just tipped that ball slightly. As the clock stops at 33 seconds. That's the last thing Pat Jones wants to think about is a bowl berth right after this. But as you mentioned, the Holiday Bowl would like a verbal commitment from them after this game. This is a very representative football team, folks. Last year they won 10 games. They went to the Sun Bowl. They beat West Virginia. And Oklahoma will keep their Big 8 title hopes alive. 2nd down and 10. And no timeouts remaining, and the clock is just going to run out now.
If Oklahoma State had any feelings about not being in the same class at Oklahoma this year, there's no question in your mind the two teams are both great football teams. You got to give Oklahoma credit. 80 yards, 4th quarter, away from home, and they did it.
Absolutely. And so, the Oklahoma Sooners, who hadn't lost to Oklahoma State since 1976, keep that streak intact. And Oklahoma State, with their best chance maybe since 1966 of winning a game against Oklahoma here in Stillwater. The final score, the Sooners of Oklahoma 31 and the Cowboys of Oklahoma State 28, and Lee, for the 6th year in a row, another very close football game.
Well played game. The play that probably will go down in history here is the replay of the 15-yard penalty out of bounds on the Oklahoma State football player. This is just dropping to it. The game is over right now. Oklahoma's the winner.
You would like to think that a player in an orange jersey or a player in a white jersey or a coach on the sideline would decide the outcome of the game. But there was a fella in a striped jersey that helped decide the outcome of this one. And that's unfortunate, but it happens.
Barry Switzer is an outstanding football coach, one of the greatest coaches in the country. You know, when he graduated from high school, he had a chance to an appointment to the United States Naval Academy, but went to Arkansas instead and became a coach. He'd have been a great admiral, wouldn't he?
This is Mike Gundy.
This is the play in the end zone now. Keep your eye on number 12. Gundy, keep your eye on number 8. Does he tip the ball?
Parker, 29, the intended receiver, sophomore from Mission Viejo, California, and Pat Jones. And the reaction of the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Final score, 31-28, and Barry Switzer, the head coach, University of Oklahoma, has joined us downstairs. Coach Roger Twyba, Lee Corso here. Congratulations on a very close and tough victory.
Hey, thank you, Roger, Lee. It was a great game. It was exciting all the way. I think that anybody who watched us tonight saw two fine football teams play and compete.
Barry, why did they give you so many problems defensively in the second half after you did everything you wanted to do early in the game?
Well, the third possession we took, moved the ball and fumbled when we made the first down. You know, they had the ball the third quarter and controlled it some, but you know, our offense they never really stopped us. It was a great drive to go win the ball game. You know, that was our last chance. We had to go do it right then.
Barry, what about Barry Sanders from the sideline? What do you look like?
Oh, he's a great back. I said that coming in the game. And Hartley Dykes is a great player. I tell you what, they're two of the best players at their position in the country.
Coach, what about the personal foul call at the end of the game?
Well,
would you rather see the players and the coaches decide?
I'll tell you what happened. It was a fourth down. It was a third down, and they don't make the first. It was great defensive pursuit. It makes it a fourth and a foot, but their fullback, 32, made the Johning gesture, mouthed off to our players there, and the guy called the penalty. We've had that called on us too before, and that they lost their poise right there, and it's a critical situation for them, and that's what beat them.
Coach, what about on the drive for the winning touchdown? 2 times you fumble the football, it bounces right back up to you. Another time your quarterback turns around and Stafford knocks him for the first down. Is that the luck of the Sooners?
That's Sooner magic. That's Sooner magic. Lee knows that's a design play. Only football coaches recognize that, right, Lee?
You'll put it in next week, but I would like to say something about you went 80 yards, fourth quarter, away from home, vintage Oklahoma football, correct?
That's right. And I tell you what, it was a great drive. Charles Thompson did a great job, and Mike Gaddis was another great back on the field.
Oh, absolutely. Barry, congratulations on a great victory, and I know the folks around the country certainly enjoyed seeing these two teams from Oklahoma.
I'm 6-0 on ESPN. I like this.
Okay. Best of luck to you the rest of the way. Barry Switzer.
Thank you. Hi, Kerry.
Final score here from Stillwater, Oklahoma. The Sooners of OU with another victory against Oklahoma State. 31-28 the final. And let's go to our ESPN studios and Tim Brando. Tim.